Chapter 1, Part 1, Shinjo Empire. South Region, Yangqing No. 1 High School, Grade 3 Class A. Mu Qing'er, Level, Demigod 9 stars, Written Test, 130 points, Actual Combat, 120 points. Lu Jia, Level, Demigod 8 stars, Written Test, 120 points, Actual Combat, 105 points. Xiao Bing, Level, Demigod 7 stars, Written Test, 125 points, Actual Combat, 100 points. Ho Xiaofei, Level, Demigod 5 stars, Written Test, 30 points, Actual Combat, 120 points. On the podium, the head teacher Zhang Wei announced the results of the first college entrance examination simulation test, and when he saw the list of the last student, his expression slightly sighed. Yi Tian, Level, Demigod 9 stars, Written Test, 150 points, Actual Combat, 0 points. As the voice fell, the eyes of all the students in the class turned slightly to the student in the last row by the window. Yi Tian, a handsome young man with a somewhat unrestrained and uninhibited demeanor. He is the class study committee member and a genius who always gets full marks in theoretical classes. But he didn't expect that his first simulated combat performance would be so poor, which made his classmates whisper, "Why is Yi Tian's combat performance so low? He is a demigod of 9 stars. Even if the god realm was opened before the mock exam, there is no reason for him to be at the bottom." Hey, you probably don't know that Yi Tian's initial race in the god realm is a slime. Isn't slime the weakest initial race? No way, no way. Is there anyone who chooses slime as the initial race? I don't know what this genius thinks. Listening to these private talks, Yi Tian's face turned cold. As a demigod, no matter how quiet the surrounding voices are, his soul can hear them. But Yi Tian's face was so ugly, not because they were weird, but because he was tricked. Slime? It's not the slime that was reincarnated in another world and can devour the world. I must be stupid to choose it as the initial race. Yi Tian roared in his heart. He was not from this world, but from a blue planet. The day after making a wish during a meteor shower, he woke up and reincarnated into the world of global gods. 17 years passed unknowingly. In this world of global gods, everyone can open up the divine domain, ignite the divine fire, create the kingdom of God, and become a true god on earth. Everyone is born as a son of God and obtains a divine body and soul. From childhood, according to the sacrifice method given by the empire, practiced to the semi-god realm, you can awaken the divine power and open up the divine domain. Then use the divine power to create the divine domain race. By strengthening the divine domain race, feeding back to the divine domain and oneself, and finally igniting the divine fire, condensing the godhood, and becoming a god. However, it is just a demigod who has just opened up the divine domain. The divine power is limited. The divine power required to create life is too huge. The school will give students a free divine domain race card to assist in creating the initial race. But free stuff is not good stuff. The race cards given by the school are all blank cards without any additional skills or talents, and most students will choose to spend money to buy God's domain race cards with additional effects. And Yi Tian had a problem when buying the special God's domain race card. Yi Tian's parents in this life died in the void battlefield, leaving a pension, and he grew up relying on the pension. Perhaps because of his 2 lives, his soul is very powerful, his cultivation speed is very fast, and his mind and ideas far exceed those of his peers. He has been known as a genius since he was a child and has received many scholarships. Originally, with the scholarship he saved, he could still buy a silver card on the market. There are 5 types of race cards on the market: white, silver, gold, black, and diamond. White cards are not worth much, only a few hundred divine crystals, which are the universal currency in the era of gods. Silver cards require 100,000 divine crystals, and gold cards require at least 1 million divine crystals. As for black and diamond cards, Yi Tian is not sure, because he dare not even think about it. Yi Tian originally planned to buy a silver card honestly, and then choose a race with good potential as the initial race, such as war apes, insects, blood cockroaches, etc. But just a few days before the mock exam, a senior who had a good relationship with Yi Tian and had been admitted to the University of Gods said that he had a golden initial race card in his hand and could sell it to Yi Tian at a low price. Because the other party was already a primary god, and he had taken good care of Yi Tian in the past. Although Yi Tian had doubts, after checking, he found that the card was real, so he agreed to the transaction. But he didn't expect that the race attached to this gold card was not the jellyfish tribe in the pattern, but the slime with a modified pattern. Although the gold card has a talent attached, it is still a very powerful talent. But no matter how talented a slime is, it is still a slime. Unless it is a slime with a cheat, no one can beat it. The final result is also seen. Actual combat, 0 points. Moreover, for this gold card, Yi Tian borrowed a lot of money from friends, and now owes the senior 100,000 divine crystals, but the senior did not let Yi Tian sign a receipt. Haha, Thank him so much for telling me what a sinister heart is before my junior graduates. Yi Tian's heart turned cold, and his eyes were indifferent. He remembered this grudge. I will definitely pay it back double in the future. Ding-ling-gling-gling. Just when Yi Tian was still thinking, the school bell rang. The head teacher Zhang Wei gave a simple explanation and left after class. Yi Tian, are you okay? How about I think of a way to ask my family for a silver card? With a light cry, the silly little fat man sitting next to Yi Tian couldn't help but comfort him when he saw that Yi Tian's face was still so cold. No need, monkey. I'm fine. The fat man's name is Ho Xiaofei. Others like to call him Fat Monkey, while Yi Tian usually calls him Monkey. He is Yi Tian's best friend. Because Monkey's parents are both strong gods, his family is wealthy. Before buying a gold card, Yi Tian asked him to borrow the god crystal. Although he was very grateful for Monkey's friendship, resources are too important in the world of gods. Monkey himself also needs to buy various resources. Yi Tian doesn't want to bother him anymore unless he is really forced into a desperate situation. But the college entrance examination. Ho Xiaofei hesitated. I'll find a way myself. Huh? What? Yi Tian waved his hand, but at this moment, his mind was shaken. Ding! The host's divine power has reached the standard, the energy has been filled, and the system is starting. Progress 10%, 30%, 70%. Ding! Unlocking completed, the 10,000 Worlds login system is turned on. The host can enter his own divine domain and then log into the 10,000 Worlds in the current connected world. All people reincarnate. All people reincarnate world. A special world bound to the reincarnation space, where all people are reincarnators. 10,000 Worlds login system. All people reincarnate world? Damn, then can't I also log into the reincarnation space? At this moment, Yi Tian was ecstatic. Thinking of the countless resources and countless opportunities in the reincarnation space, he only wanted to say one word: invincible. P.S. After reading several books about global gods, I suddenly thought about what it would be like for the divine domain to be connected to a reincarnation space. What expressions would those gods have when they met 10 billion reincarnations in the protagonist's divine domain? Haha, then this book came out. I hope readers can support it and give it flowers and reviews. In addition, the setting of this book will be different from other eras of gods. Chapter 2, Part 1. Invincible. Yi Tian couldn't help laughing. What invincible? Ho Xiaofei blinked curiously, wondering if his brother had suffered too much and had a problem with his head. It's okay, you don't understand. Yi Tian raised his lips slightly, instantly regaining his confidence. What is the reincarnation space? People in this world don't know, but Yi Tian doesn't know. It's a magical space that can travel through the heavens and the worlds. It is usually equipped with a big light ball of the main god. The reincarnation space of the whole people's reincarnation is more special. There is no big light ball in it. The core of the space exists in the form of a temple or a reincarnation tower, and the whole people travel through the dungeon. The world level is very high. As for the world of the whole people's reincarnation, can it compare with the global god era where Yi Tian is? Well, the potential is not lost, but Yi Tian feels that it can't compare for the time being, because the main world where he is in has a strong man called God King. Although he doesn't know what realm the God King is, the high school textbooks don't explain it, and he is qualified to understand it after entering the God University, but according to some street legends, it is at least the combat power of the galaxy level. The universal reincarnation world should not have reached that level yet. If the universal reincarnation world has developed to that point, then Yi Tian has to be more low-key. Everything must be logged into the reincarnation space to know how to act, but no matter how far the reincarnation space of that world develops, it is a great opportunity for me. After Yi Tian pondered for a while, he decided to go home immediately and then log in to the universal reincarnation world. Monkey, I'm leaving first, and remember to ask for leave for me tomorrow. After saying that, Yi Tian left the classroom without looking back, leaving Ho Xiaofei with a confused face. Wait, why is there such a big change suddenly, and why do you want to ask for leave tomorrow? Ho Xiaofei couldn't figure it out, really couldn't guess Yi Tian. Fortunately, he is not a person who likes to use his brain, so if he can't figure it out, just don't think about it. Anyway, it's just to help ask for leave. With his family relationship, there is no reason for the head teacher not to approve it. At this time, Yi Tian had already boarded the high-speed train driven by divine power. The speed was extremely fast, almost the speed of light. So he was still in school the last moment, and returned to his two-story bungalow in the suburbs of his city the next moment. Although it was just a two-story bungalow, in the global era of gods, every inch of land was still worth a lot of money. If it was sold, it could still be exchanged for more than 100,000 divine crystals. And 100,000 divine crystals are the accumulation of most of the lives of many demigod families. If you can't become a god, you will eventually be the bottom of this world. Therefore, the college entrance examination in this world is extremely important, which basically determines the future of a family. Many families go bankrupt to buy a good God Realm race card. However, why is the price of a small bungalow comparable to a God Realm race card? Tian is not very clear about this, but he feels that there must be some secrets. After all, after becoming a demigod, even if you sleep on the streets every day, you will not freeze to death or get sick. Going to school in the Shinjo Empire is free. As for food, as long as you have hands and feet, you will never starve to death if you go to work. If you insist on the idea that it is impossible to work and you will never work in this life, then there is nothing you can do. Forget it. These secrets have nothing to do with me for the time being. Tian only thought about it for a moment, and then he didn't think about this problem anymore. The most important thing now is to log in to the reincarnation space. System. Tian called the system directly in his heart. Ding. In an instant, the Wanjia login system showed the attribute panel. System, Wanjia login system, host. Tian. Level. 4th level. Demigod 9 stars, skills. 9-year basic training in Shinjo, High School Edition, current connected world, reincarnation for all. Control of God's domain, metaverse. The name Tian thought of, domain area, 10,000 square kilometers. Resources, none. God crystal, 500. God's domain naturally produces 10 God crystals every day. God crystals are transformed by the void energy absorbed by God's domain. They can be stored in the God crystal card of the Imperial Bank and can be transferred freely. God's domain race, slime. Quantity, 500. Grade, F. Combat power, 5 points. Talent, regeneration, S level. Skills, physical reduction resistance. I didn't expect the system to show all my God domain attributes. My initial God domain area is definitely in the first echelon. Alas, it's a pity that it's this initial race. Tian looked at his attribute panel and sighed slightly. Especially when he saw his God domain race, he still felt a bleeding feeling in his heart. S-level regeneration talent, as well as immunity to general physical attacks, are indeed very strong talents and skills. The number is also 10 times that of ordinary God domain initial races. Unfortunately, the combat power is too weak, and the 5 points of combat power are scum. The biggest problem of the slime race is not the talent skills, but the basic combat power. Although there are many slimes, the races created by the demigods when they open up the God domain are only a small tribe of dozens of people. Even the natural fighting races, such as the War Ape tribe, have an initial number of less than 10. But the combat power is only 5, and it is useless to increase the number tenfold, unless the number can reach 1,000 times or 10,000 times that of the opponent, and then rely on the human sea tactics and regeneration ability to consume the opponent alive. Of course, if Tian's slime talent was changed to the talent of Shi Outyin, the protagonist of About My Reincarnation in Another World, becoming a slime, who can obtain the talent of devouring everything to evolve, all problems will be solved, and it can even be said to be a sure kill. Unfortunately, it cannot be changed, but it is not impossible. Once I enter the reincarnation space, everything is possible. Thinking of this, Tian was more looking forward to entering the reincarnation space and wanted to use the system capabilities immediately. Just at this time, the system sensed what Tian was thinking and gave a prompt. Ding. Please enter your own divine domain before using the system function. Huh? Why do you have to enter the divine domain first? Tian was slightly curious. Ding. The ancestral star of the gods where the host is located has the power of the gods to seal. Any creature from another time and space cannot enter directly. Similarly, any creature from this time and space cannot leave directly. Hearing this, Tian thought of many things in an instant, such as the place where his parents sacrificed in this life, the void battlefield. But now is not the time to think about these questions. Tian is more concerned about whether he can log in to the 10,000 worlds at any time. If I don't enter my god's domain, I can't log in to the 10,000 worlds. Ding. You can forcefully leave with the power of the system, but it may be noticed by the gods who have imposed the seal. Unless the host does not intend to come back, it is not recommended to log in directly. Is that so? It's okay. Tian nodded. It is acceptable to be able to forcefully leave, but in order not to expose the existence of a system plugin, he still logs in the god's domain. Ding. Host. In fact, there are additional benefits to logging in to the reincarnation space in the god's domain. At this time, the system prompted again. Tian was slightly stunned. There are benefits to logging in to the reincarnation space in the god's domain? Chapter 3, Part 1. What are the benefits? Tian asked directly. Ding. The host is an omnipotent god in his own divine domain. Although the divine domain is still poor and far from being omnipotent and omniscient, after logging into the universal reincarnation world, the characteristics of the divine domain is immortal and the host is immortal, will be retained. So the host can be reborn in the divine domain even if he dies with the ability of infinite rebirth. And even if the host gets into trouble with some gods, demons, and immortal emperors in the copy of the reincarnation space, They must first find the coordinates of this divine universe in the heavens and the worlds, and after finding it, they must break through the seal of the gods. Because of the particularity of this universe, they cannot succeed. Haha, in this way, I am invincible. Yi Tian nodded. Thinking of this, it is not a bad thing that the main world has the seal of the gods. After a pause, Yi Tian thought of a possibility and asked worriedly, what about the reincarnation space? In case the mission fails, is there a risk of being wiped out? In an instant, the Wanjialagan system gave a decisive answer. Ding! The host doesn't need to worry about this. The system is limited in function due to insufficient energy, but if it is compared with the supreme law, this system is absolutely the strongest. Moreover, in the universal reincarnation world that the host logs in, there is no rule that this rule will be erased if there is no mission failure, because there is no need. The reincarnators who fail the mission will be eliminated naturally, and it is useless if they don't die. Then I have nothing to worry about. Yi Tian nodded. He didn't have to worry about death. His plans after entering the reincarnation space could be more crazy. However, although he would not really die, the cost of dying once would definitely be very high. Yi Tian could think of this without the system reminding him. Especially since Yi Tian's God realm has no resources yet, he can only spend God crystals to be reborn in the God realm, and the number of God crystals in his hand is too small. He will definitely go bankrupt immediately after rebirth, which may be more painful than death. But whether there is a threat of death or not, Yi Tian will not give up entering the universal reincarnation world, because he will never miss this great opportunity. Let's enter the God's domain first. After making up his mind, Yi Tian returned to the bedroom, then opened the God's domain game cabin, lay down and entered, and put on the God's domain connection helmet. This set of God's domain connection equipment is free for everyone. According to the planetary regulations, demigods need to use this set of equipment before they are allowed to enter their own God's domain. Using this set of equipment can prevent gods above the demigod realm from invading their own God's domain and prevent the killing of geniuses. Not to mention demigods, many gods with low strength log into their own God's domain through the God's domain game cabin. And using this set of equipment is not omnipotent. When fighting with gods and foreign races on the battlefield, the enemy will not give you time to wear equipment. To put it bluntly, it is a set of equipment to make the planet more peaceful and stable, and to protect weak gods and genius gods, which is of no help in actual combat. God's domain. Metaverse. It's really desolate. Yi Tian sighed slightly after entering his own God's domain. His divine domain is very large, 10,000 square kilometers, enough for 100,000 people to move around, but the metaverse is currently an endless ocean. Except for 500 cute slimes, there are no other lives and resources. However, Yi Tian believes that this scene will soon disappear, and his divine domain will soon be able to change its appearance. No, it should be a complete change, to become the strongest divine domain. Then he will be promoted to a god and build the strongest kingdom of God. System, can I log in now? Yi Tian asked in his heart. Ding! You can log in to the National Reincarnation World now. Open! A silver light flashed, and Yi Tian disappeared in his own divine domain. National Reincarnation World. Demon Sea City, Demon Sea No. 1 High School, Rooftop. Have you heard that the dungeons in the reincarnation space have finally been updated? I heard that there are also dungeons for gods and demons. The dungeons for gods and demons are really rare. It seems that the big forces are going to open up new land again, but this has nothing to do with us. You don't know this, right? Some dungeons have a strength limit of more than S level, but S level reincarnators can't enter. Some dungeons are obviously hidden with great dangers. Even big guys whose life level has surpassed humans may fall, but we F level reincarnators can enter. So, can we also enter the dungeons for gods and demons this time? Yes, but I don't plan to go in. Why? I don't want to die yet. Two students with shamat hairstyles who skipped class were still talking about the information about the reincarnation space. Suddenly, a silver light flashed in front of them, and a man in black with a noble temperament like a god appeared in front of them. Big brother. The appearance of Yi Tian really scared them, but they didn't think it was strange. They just thought Yi Tian had just come out of the reincarnation space. After all, this kind of thing happens often. It's just that they didn't expect to meet a big boss. Yes, with Yi Tian's 9-star demigod and a combat power of 4th level in the system evaluation, he is indeed a strong man in this world. Big boss? It seems that my strength in this world is not bad. Yi Tian saw that the shock and exclamation of the two students were not pretended, and he immediately had some understanding of his own strength, and at the same time he was more confident about his future in the reincarnation space. After a pause, Yi Tian found that the two students had reincarnation watches on their hands, but he didn't have one because he logged in from another world. Can the reincarnation watch be used by others? Yi Tian stared at a student's eyes and asked indifferently. The student's expression was dull for a moment, as if he was scared silly, and he said naively, "The reincarnation watch is not a rare thing. Everyone is born with it, bound to their own soul, and can buy new ones in the reincarnation space, and can also buy and sell freely. Some people who are afraid of death or like comfort give up becoming reincarnations and sell their watches, but this kind of watch is more expensive. Oh, why? Tian asked curiously. You can change an ID. The student answered. ID? Tian nodded. It seems that every soul in the reincarnation space corresponds to an ID. It is equivalent to a game account. Thinking of this, Tian looked at the two students in front of him with eyes full of nuclear kindness. Chapter 4, Part 1. A few minutes later, after getting what he wanted, Tian disappeared into the void. The two students with the shamat hairstyle trembled, and after a long time they came back to their senses and looked at each other. Were we robbed by the big guy? Why would a big guy like him take a fancy to our reincarnation watch? Yes, and he even exchanged it with a few glowing pebbles to insult us. That's right. Why don't you insult us a few more times? The two shamat students felt the gentle power in the divine crystal in their hands, and they wished that Tian would go back and insult them thousands of times. If Tian was still here at this time, he would definitely slap these two funny guys twice to make them sober up and stop daydreaming all day long. And giving them a few divine crystals is not because Tian is more principled. He just doesn't want to make things worse. If they robbed their reincarnation watches, after Tian became famous in the reincarnation space, some powerful forces would definitely try to investigate Tian. If they couldn't find out Tian's identity, they would also try to collect special events that happened during the period when he appeared to see if they could find some clues. Don't underestimate the wisdom of a world. If you think from another perspective, Tian would also investigate in this way. Although Tian didn't think anyone could find out that he was from another world, it was better to have less trouble than more. Choosing to trade is different. Although it is a forced sale, trading reincarnation watches is not a special event in this world. Is this the reincarnation space of this world? Tian was slightly surprised when he just stepped into the reincarnation space. The reincarnation space of this world is not the reincarnation tower, nor the reincarnation hall, nor the white space that comes with the main god's big light ball. It is a city, a huge city with a wall that is unknown how high it is. The three gilded characters, Reincarnation Tower, are carved on the city gate with special runes. Although the runes are not recognized, the meaning can be understood. It's obviously a city. Why is it called the Samsara Tower? Standing at the gate of the city, Tian couldn't help but complain. Hee, you are a newcomer, right? When I first logged into the Samsara space, I had the same expression as you, but the Samsara Tower is not as simple as I imagined. At this time, a 17 or 18-year-old, rustic-looking Samsaraist happened to log in behind Tian, grinning with memories. Oh, I wonder if you have any advice for me. Tian didn't deny that he was a newcomer. Influenced by various novels in his previous life, Tian felt that the most important thing to look down on in the Samsara space is the newcomers. The Samsaraists who look down on the newcomers often die the fastest. Although Tian is indeed a newcomer. Haha, I dare not say I can give you advice, but I like you, young man. I want to remind you that it is best for newcomers to buy information from the city's know-it-alls after entering the city, and choose the world that suits them best. F-level reincarnationists only have one login card to enter the reincarnation dungeon every month, so don't waste it. The first world you choose is the most important, but I think you are not like an ordinary person. After the silly young man finished speaking, he looked at Tian meaningfully. For some reason, Tian made him feel very special. He had only felt this kind of specialness in the big brothers of reincarnationists. Special confidence. Thank you. Tian smiled politely, and then they each stepped into the reincarnation building. After entering the city, Tian found that the Samsara Tower looked like a city from the outside, and it looked even more like a city from the inside. There is a skyscraper in the center of the city, and there are all kinds of modern buildings in the four directions of the east, south, west, and north. On the street, you can even see some reincarnations handing out flyers. There are also city coordinates and maps at the city gate. Looking at the map, it is found that there are all kinds of food, entertainment, and industries in this Samsara city. I don't know if there is a one-stop industry on the street. It's interesting. It's worthy of being a national reincarnation. It's very close to the people. Tian smiled and found that this reincarnation space is no different from the global god world where he has lived for more than 10 years. Putting aside the mysterious power, it is no different from the daily world in the previous life. Are you a know-it-all? Let's go and take a look. Tian looked at the place marked on the map where information was sold. It turned out to be a milk tea shop, which was very close to the city gate, and then walked over. But when he approached the milk tea shop and heard the discussion of the guests, Tian stopped. For the new copy, Ninja Continent, choose Rain Village. I heard that the leader of Rain Village is Hanzo, who is known as the demigod, and he intimidates the 5 major ninja villages with his own strength. Why choose Rain Village? There are 5 major countries. Cloud Ninja is the strongest. I have seen Lord Rakage fight. Once the lightning armor is opened, He is invincible in the world. Choosing Konoha is the most hopeless. The third generation Hokage is the strongest in history, but he is still an old man. Choose Thunder Ninja. I choose Mist Village, not for any reason, just because the Mizukage is fierce enough and pleasing to the eye. Brother, do you want a sure? You are so desperate. Even if the reincarnation space can resurrect people, you still need points. Haha, although I don't have points, I have never been afraid of anyone when it comes to survival. Why do you all choose the ninja continent? Isn't it better to choose the great navigation world? Get a devil fruit and your strength will increase greatly. Devil fruits are not that good, and you can't swim after eating them. It takes a lot of points to get rid of the side effects. Come to the Death God copy and choose the 5th team. Captain Aizen is a very good person. He said he admired me last time. Tian's face was full of black lines, and he complained in his heart. What the hell is going on? The third generation of Hokage is the strongest in history. The Thunder Shadow is invincible in the world? There is also a reincarnation who said that Aizen is a good person. I'm afraid that Aizen doesn't admire him, but finds his abnormality. It is estimated that he will be sliced and studied by Aizen next. This information is better not to buy. After thinking about it, Tian found a seat and sat down, thinking secretly. Sure enough, just like the routine of the novels in my previous life, the natives of the universal reincarnation world don't know the plot of the reincarnation copy. The reincarnators don't know the plot, but I do. This is another big advantage of mine. Relying on the reincarnation space, I can definitely become a top god. After entering the reincarnation space, the next step is to obtain resources in this way and how to develop and expand my own divine domain. But it's not enough for me to become stronger alone. The global divine universe is my main world and my main battlefield in the future. Whether it's the battle of the divine domain or dealing with foreign enemies in the void battlefield, I need to cultivate the divine domain race. Moreover, the stronger the divine domain race is, the stronger I will be. The qualitative change caused by quantitative change, this way of promotion is easier than personal cultivation in the later stage. If my divine domain race can also become a reincarnator, with the information I provide, the growth rate will be absolutely terrifying. Wait, that's not right. Why can't I do the opposite and let the reincarnators become my own divine domain race? Suddenly, Tian's mind flashed with an extremely crazy idea. A plan that not only makes himself stronger, but also digs into the corner of the reincarnation space. P.S. The next chapter will officially enter the dungeon, the first step towards invincibility, and the protagonist's identity from another world will not be exposed. The poaching plan is not real poaching, but making the best use of the reincarnation. Chapter 5, Part 1. Reincarnationists enter the reincarnation space, nothing more than the pursuit of power and extraordinary life. I don't know how many reincarnationists are sacrificed every year for this. Tian's plan is very simple and violent. Reincarnationists cannot resist powerful forces. As long as they can gain power, they can fight for him, and they may even sign a contract to become his subordinate gods. In the universe of gods, there are huge profits to be made in both the war in the gods' domain and the battlefield in the void. Although it is dangerous, is there no danger in the reincarnation space? The number of reincarnationists in the universal reincarnation world is more than 10 billion. Since the emergence of the reincarnation space, it is estimated that the planet has a population of more than 100 billion. How many reincarnationists die in the mission world every year? I am afraid it is more than 10 million. Moreover, Tian can directly resurrect the reincarnationists who died in the gods' domain. Of course, he has to pay a lot of divine power, and it depends on whether the other party is worth it. Tian can also provide intelligence advantages to the reincarnationists who surrender to him. Of course, the biggest benefit must go to Tian. Tian eats meat, and his subordinates can drink some soup. If they are beautiful subordinates, he can give them extra rewards of billions. In short, working for Tian is far better than wandering alone in the reincarnation space. However, the premise of the plan is that Tian's identity cannot be exposed. At the same time, in order to ensure absolute loyalty, a contract needs to be signed in the reincarnation space. The whole plan still needs a lot of details to think about, and it is impossible to accomplish it overnight. The first step of the plan is to make a name for yourself and become famous in the reincarnation space. The second step of the plan is that Tian plans to go to the Naruto copy. It is too wasteful for the reincarnationists who die in the mission world every year. See if you can find a way to use them first. And now, first, find the best copy of the Traverser in the reincarnation space and strengthen your own strength. Tian murmured, and then walked towards the skyscraper in the center of the reincarnation space. The core of the Samsara building, so the dungeons are all on the floors of the skyscraper. No wonder it is called the Samsara building. After Tian entered the Samsara building, he found the first dungeon he wanted to enter in the crystal hall on the first floor. Dungeon number CA 09527. Dungeon name, Superpower Out of Control. Overall evaluation, F level. It's here. Yi Tian's mouth slightly raised. He didn't expect that he didn't even need to walk a few steps. The dungeon he wanted to enter was near the entrance, but there was no one at the entrance of the dungeon, which surprised him a little. But it happened to be just what he wanted. However, Yi Tian's unconventional behavior also attracted the attention of the reincarnationists at the dungeon entrances around him. Hey, that guy over there is a newcomer, standing in front of the superpower out-of-control copy and laughing. No way, someone went into that useless copy. That copy is not as good as Detective Chinatown. At least you can get points for solving the case. Doesn't he know that there is no superpower person in the copy? Haha, let alone superpower people, there is not even a ghost. The first time I entered this copy, I stayed in it for a month and couldn't find a hair. Don't even mention a hair. What is the main task? Find the trio of fate. Damn, at the beginning, we are teleported to a small town in a beautiful country, and then asked to find the trio of fate. Who knows who the trio of fate is? It seems that the kid at the door is definitely going to fail. Hey, it's okay. Newcomers are like this, accept the beatings of society and be honest. Haha, useless copy? Yi Tian sneered in his heart. He believed that there were only useless reincarnations in the reincarnation space, but no useless copies. The copy of the movie Superpower Out of Control is one of the copies that time travelers dream of, with the lowest difficulty and the highest return. It tells the story of the protagonist Andre and his friends Steve and Matt, who accidentally encountered a mysterious cave after a party and touched a space meteorite inside. The three of them gained superpowers, which triggered the subsequent story. Although the movie ended up being a tragedy, superpowers are real and are a very low-cost opportunity for time travelers to gain superpowers. The premise is to find Andre and his friends before they enter the cave. Otherwise, the superpowers will be theirs. But it's no wonder that the reincarnationists who entered this copy complained. After all, they didn't know the plot and didn't even know Andre's names, so they could only rely on the reincarnationists' own wisdom and observation ability, as well as luck. Perhaps the meaning of this copy is that the reincarnation space wants to test the reincarnationists on these 3 points. But Yi Tian doesn't need it, because in this reincarnation space, he is as omnipotent and omniscient as God. At this moment, God come. Yi Tian suddenly remembered the declaration of his middle school years in his previous life, smiled slightly, and then stepped into the superpower out of control copy. Embark on the road to invincibility. Ding. The player Tian has entered the superpower out of control instance. What? He really went in. Listening to the prompt at the entrance of the Samsara instance, the nearby Samsara players were shocked. Chapter 6, Part 1. Who is that person? Heavenly Emperor. I haven't heard of him. He should be a newcomer. A newcomer? His name is quite impressive, but the ignorant are fearless. I wonder how long he can stay in there. He will probably get bored and come out in 2 days. The reincarnations outside the superpower out of control copy were more or less surprised, and then most of them were not optimistic about this Heavenly Emperor. But when Yi Tian came out, they might have a different look. At this time, the superpower out of control plane, a small town in the United States. Is this the login of the reincarnation? You can choose your identity at the beginning, which is quite convenient. Yi Tian, wearing a high-level police uniform, appeared at the gate of the town's government and smiled slightly. He chose this identity to facilitate his actions, and he didn't plan to look for people all over the world. If you want to investigate the home addresses of 3 people, the easiest way is to find the official. And I don't know if it's because Yi Tian is a demigod. After he chose his identity, he got a high position, which is considered a middle and senior level in the town management system. Therefore, Yi Tian found the location of Andre, Steve, and Matt very easily in the name of handling the case. Then within 20 minutes, Yi Tian found them at a villa party. Ding. Main task 1. Find the fate trio. Complete. Complete. Get 1,000 points. Publish the main task 2. Change the fate of the trio. Reward, 10,000 points. 1 lottery. Haha, I get 1,000 points. And there is the main task 2. Change the fate, which seems to be easier. Yi Tian smiled slightly. As long as he finds the space crystal meteorite first, the fate of these 3 people will definitely change. As for Andre and the others, they have no superpowers. Whether the future is good or bad, Yi Tian doesn't care. At most, he will give them a few pieces of divine crystal stones to get rid of them. As for now, Yi Tian doesn't plan to wait for their party to end before he catches the cicada and the oriole behind. Open the soul, search for me. Yi Tian uses the soul power of his own semi-god 9 stars to open the sea of consciousness. In the world of gods, he rarely uses his soul power. Unexpectedly, in the world of out-of-control superpowers, the effect is outstanding, and the sea of consciousness directly covers the entire town and even the entire city. The most surprising thing is that Yi Tian found that his demigod-level soul power has no restrictions in this world. The water in this world may be a bit deep. Yi Tian's demigod-level power is not restricted, which means that the upper limit of this world is not just demigod. Although Andre and his friend's final strength is far less than demigod after obtaining telekinesis, they only get the power given by a mere space meteorite. The origin of that space meteorite is definitely extraordinary, which can allow ordinary people to obtain superpowers, and Andre and his 3 people have almost no price to pay, and their potential is not weak. At the end of the movie, Andre can cause large-scale damage to the city. This is a kind of power that turns decay into magic. Found it. Just as Tian was thinking, the Sea of Consciousness found an extremely shining gem, which contains great energy. There is no doubt that this is the meteorite crystal in the movie. Ding. Hidden item found. Cosmic Energy Stone. Points, 5,000. Current points, 6,000. Another 5,000 points. Are points so easy to get? Tian found that points are really easy to earn. Well, if the reincarnation outside heard this sentence at this moment, they would definitely complain. Human words, okay? You 3, just be ordinary people. After discovering the location of the meteorite crystal, Tian glanced at Andre and the others, and then quickly came to the cave where the meteorite was. And when he touched the meteorite crystal with his hand, the divine body reacted instantly. Ding. Item obtained. Cosmic Energy Stone. The energy stone is supplemented with divine power. Tian was slightly startled. What does it mean? This meteorite did not give him power, but also absorbed his divine power. Ding. Obtained the counter-replenishment of the Cosmic Energy Stone, and obtained the S-level skill, Super Energy System, Telekinesis. Reincarnation, Emperor of Heaven. Level, F. Combat Power, S++. Level 4, Demigod 9 stars. Talent, Regeneration, S-level, derived from the God Realm race. The God Realm race has the talent skills, and the God Lord must also master it. Passive skill, Physical Reduction Resistance. Skill, Telekinesis, S-level. S-level skill, not bad. Tian nodded. This telekinesis skill is really good. It has reached S-level. According to the evaluation of the reincarnation space, the talent skills of the demigod level should be between S-level and SS level. Although in the God universe, it is rare for gods to participate in battles in person, but it is always good to have an extra S-level talent. Ding. The Cosmic Energy Stone can be stored in the host God realm, automatically replenish energy, and activate the talent of the God realm race to obtain superpowers. At this time, the Wanja login system issued a long-lost reminder. This. If the previous reward made Tian a little happy, now he is ecstatic. A group of slimes is not scary, but a group of immortal regenerating slimes, each with superpowers, is a bit scary. Besides, Tian's future God realm races will be more than just slimes. If all his God realm races are one superpower ahead of the enemy. TSK. Who dares to fight a God realm war with him? Chapter 7, Part 1. With this space meteorite, Cosmic Energy Stone, Tian can imagine what expression will be on the face of the gods who will be his enemy in the future. I dare not say about the battles above the primary gods, but at least in the battles between demigods and primary gods, a race with an extra S-level talent skill can have an advantage. Ding. Get the Cosmic Energy Stone, complete the main task 2, change your fate, and get rewards, 10,000 reincarnation points, 1 lottery. Just when Tian was ecstatic, the reminder sound of the reincarnation space sounded again. Sure enough, taking the space meteorite, their fate has changed. Tian was not surprised at all, as he had expected that the tasks of the super-powered out-of-control copy were so simple. Completing one task basically completes all the tasks. The task is very simple and direct. Otherwise, it will become one of the best dungeons for traversers. The key point is whether you know the plot. You can return, but before that, Tian thought about it and decided to give Andre and the others a few divine crystals as rewards. The energy contained in the divine crystal is enough to cure Andre's sick mother. Even if she can't be cured, she can live like a normal person. A divine crystal does not have much divine power, but no matter how small it is still divine power. Demigods and gods need to use divine crystals, so you know its value. It is useful to reincarnators, not to mention ordinary people. And Steve and Matt obtained the divine crystals, and they are free to sell or absorb them slowly. Cause and effect are clear. Thoughts are clear. The most important thing for doing this is that Tian's thoughts are clear. Therefore, Tian spent half an hour to explain everything, and left this copy world with Andre and the other 2 looking at God. Reincarnation building, in the hall. Ding. Player Tian has completely cleared this superpower out-of-control dungeon, completed the hidden task, and obtained an SSS level evaluation. Ding. Player Tian has completely cleared this superpower out-of-control dungeon, completed the hidden task, and obtained an SSS level evaluation. Ding. Player Tian has completely cleared this superpower out-of-control dungeon, completed the hidden task, and obtained an SSS level evaluation. In an instant, all the reincarnations in the city of Samsara Tower heard the prompt. The SSS level evaluation is the only server-wide announcement. Even the reincarnations who are not in the reincarnation space can hear it. At this moment, all the reincarnations were shocked. Since the beginning of the era of universal reincarnation, it seems that no one has ever heard of the SSS level. One is because they don't know the information. The SSS level evaluation must complete the hidden task. The second is that after the strength is strong, some dungeons cannot be entered. Third, they don't want to take risks. The reincarnation dungeon is not a joke. Many people know that there are SSS level evaluations, but for the sake of safety, they will not deliberately look for hidden tasks. If they provoke some big boss behind the scenes and wipe out the reincarnationists, who can they go to for justice? With these factors, if it weren't for Tian, it's unknown when the first SSS evaluation would be obtained. Emperor of Heaven. Who is he? Great Emperor of Heaven. I want to give birth to a baby. F***K. It's almost time to give birth to a baby. We don't know if the Emperor of Heaven is a boy or a girl. I know, he's a boy. I just saw him enter this superpower out of control copy with my own eyes. F***K. I thought he was a newcomer, but he turned out to be a great master. Oh my god, superpower out of control can get an SSS level rating? F***K. Isn't that a famous useless copy? So, this Emperor of Heaven is quite extraordinary. I don't know where he came from. He's the illegitimate son of those S-level Legion leaders. Who knows? If I had known he was so powerful, I would have just flattered him. At this moment, the reincarnation forum went crazy, with millions of comments skyrocketing. In this people-friendly world of reincarnation, the reincarnation forum has of course been popular for a long time. Tian searched the forum from the reincarnation watch and was also surprised, this speed of eating melons, wow. But then again, I completed the hidden task, and I didn't think so much. Tian's original evaluation could only reach SS level evaluation, and finally completed the hidden task, that is, the gratitude of Andre's trio. Yes, because Tian saved Andre's mother, Andre didn't have to go crazy later, Matt didn't have to kill the crazy Andre himself later, and Steve, who was originally dead in vain, didn't die because of Tian. So, this hidden task was settled after Tian left the copy. I almost missed it, but fortunately I didn't ignore Andre's trio for the sake of my thoughts. Tian was a little relieved. You know that the rewards for SSS level talents are extremely generous. Get SSS level evaluation, the reward is increased tenfold, and an additional supreme lottery. Note: each copy has only one SSS level evaluation opportunity. Once someone completes it, there will be no SSS level evaluation. Current attributes: Reincarnation, Emperor of Heaven level, F. Combat power, S++, 4th level, Demigod 9 stars, Talent, Regeneration, S level, Passive skill, Physical reduction resistance. Skill, Telekinesis, S level, Samsara points, 160,000. Items, Lottery tickets x10, Supreme lottery tickets x1. Just now, Tian asked the system that Samsara points can be directly exchanged for divine crystals, with a 1-to-1 ratio, which is 160,000 divine crystals. However, according to the information found on the Samsara forum, it is more cost-effective to buy items in the commercial street of the Samsara Space City. As for the lottery tickets x10, there is no need to say, 10 consecutive draws, no need to worry about failure. The Supreme lottery ticket, but it is guaranteed to get S level or above items. It can be said that Tian returned with a full load this time. Strengthen your strength, obtain the cosmic energy stone that activates the race's superpowers, and make a splash in the reincarnation space. The initial plan went very smoothly. The next step is to use this harvest to go back to the God universe and expand the God realm. Hee senior, I won't let you wait for long. Tian thought of the senior god who had cheated him in the past and laughed coldly. Chapter 8, Part 1. Ding. It is recommended that the host use the lottery ticket before returning to the God's universe. Why? Tian Wei originally wanted to return to his own God realm to draw the lottery. In his God realm, he is the only true God, and perhaps he can influence the lottery results. Ding. The lottery ticket of the reincarnation space is best used in the reincarnation space. Once you leave, you must cross the boundary to transfer the prize to the host. Oh, I understand. Tian immediately understood that he was not a reincarnation in this universal reincarnation world. He came from the God's universe. Once he returns to the God's universe, it is a question whether the reincarnation space can directly transfer the reward. Even if it can, it is estimated to be very troublesome. After all, there is a seal of the gods on the ancestral star. It is better to have less trouble than more trouble. Then let's try 10 consecutive draws first. I am the Emperor of Destiny. Tian quickly found a quiet corner in the reincarnation building and was a little eager to play. Since he traveled through time and was reborn in the God's universe, he has not played the card drawing game. It's not that there are no mobile games in the Age of Gods, but Tian is too poor. Most card drawing games require Krypton gold. However, the mobile games in the Age of Gods are worth the money, because the props in the mobile games can be exchanged for real and can be effective in the Gods domain. In the Age of Gods, the game produced by the strongest game company, Yuan Shun, can also draw pets and girlfriends. Of course, those girlfriends are machine bionic people, without souls, and they are maintained and upgraded. They are all pure love settings, and cross-border behavior cannot be done to them. However, even with many restrictions, looking at the living and moving wife still makes the fat otaku in the world of Gods revel. Tian has decided that the money of fat otaku is really easy to make. It seems that there is not much difference between fat otakus in all the heavens and worlds. Speaking of which, Tian admires the designer who came up with this idea. It is said that this idea was proposed by the daughter of the Yuan Shun consortium. What a genius. Speaking of which, that rich lady seems to be the same age as Tian. Maybe he can meet her at the University of Gods in the future. Tian thought of this and inexplicably became interested in this rich lady. Let's draw cards first. Reincarnation space. Start 10 consecutive draws. Tian called the reincarnation space and made 10 consecutive draws with one click. Ding. A burst of golden light passed by, forming a golden magic circle, and then countless cards emerged from the magic circle, rotating, and finally fell into Tian's hands. Congratulations to player Tian for obtaining Copy Identity Cards X5, Login Card X1, Time and Space Login Cards X3, Venue Magic Card Legendary City Atlantis, S. Identity Card. When logging into the reincarnation space copy, you can adjust your identity. The more noble your identity and the stronger your bloodline, the more cards you need to consume. Login Card. Get an extra copy login. Time and Space Login Card. You can adjust the time and space node when logging into the copy. Field Magic Card, Legendary City Atlantis. This card can be used as the Field Magic C. Effect 1. The attack and defense of water attributed life on both sides of the enemy and the enemy increases by 200. Effect 2. In Atlantis, the reproduction speed of water attributed life can be increased by 1 level. 4 A's and 1 S's. I'm lucky. Tian just said it casually, but he didn't expect that he was really lucky. Although he wanted to increase his attack power, because his God Realm race has strong defense, what he lacks is attack power. However, the Field Magic card, Atlantis, also has the effect of increasing attack power. 200 points of attack power is not much, but for the slime with almost 0 attack power, it is already very good, and it can be placed in his own God Realm. I remember that this is a card from the world of Yu-Gi-Oh! Thinking of Yu-Gi-Oh! Tian still misses it a little. He can consider Yu-Gi-Oh! Dungeons in the future and collect the 3 mythical gods. Gods, of course, must use God cards. Next, it's the highlight. Tian looked at the Supreme Draw card in the inventory and was looking forward to it. It was at least a treasure of S level or above. I hope to draw a weapon with strong attack power, preferably a divine weapon. Reincarnation space. Open the Supreme Draw. Tian shouted in his heart. Ding. Congratulations to the player Tian for winning. God-made weapon, Heaven Lock. God-made weapon, Heaven Lock. Enkidu's body, Heaven Lock. The stronger the divinity, the stronger the restraint, but it cannot exceed the limit. Wanjia Login System Prompt. It has an effect on gods below the God King realm of the God universe. It is effective below the God King realm? Tian looked ecstatic. With the Heaven Lock, his strength can be said to have made a leap, and he can be invincible even when facing the primary gods. It is worthy of being the Supreme Draw. It is really not covered. Moreover, the Heaven's Chain is effective against gods below the God King realm, so it is absolutely easy to deal with his God Senior. Unfortunately, Tian's attack power is not enough. Even if he catches the god, he can't kill it. However, with the Heaven's Chain, he can't escape even if he wants to. As long as Tian's God Realm race combat power is improved, it will be his death. Originally, Tian wanted to wait until he reached the level of a god before taking revenge. Now with the Heaven's Chain, maybe he doesn't need to become a primary god to have a chance to kill that bastard senior. Now all he needs is a killing blow, a fatal blow that can kill a god. Don't be too anxious, otherwise my secrets may be exposed. In the reincarnation space, many things have the means to kill gods. It's a matter of time. Restraining the excitement in his heart, Tian smiled slightly. In his heart, the senior is already a dead man, so there is no need to rush. If he is anxious and exposes too many of his secrets, it will not be worth the loss. There are plenty of opportunities. It's time to go back. After calming down, Tian decided to return to the God's universe first and strengthen his own God realm. As for the 160,000 reincarnation points, he was not in a hurry to use them. Tian had just made a name for himself. If he immediately spent a lot of money in the commercial street of the reincarnation space, it is estimated that a lot of people from powerful forces would come to him soon. Although they would not threaten him to join, there would definitely be trouble. It is better to return to the God's universe first. The variety of goods in the Baibao Chamber of Commerce in the God's universe is not necessarily worse than that in the reincarnation space. And if you log out of the reincarnation space, you will directly enter the reincarnation space next time you log in, which can save a lot of trouble and avoid risks. System return? Tian silently said in his heart, and then he turned into a light spot and left the reincarnation space and returned to his own God realm. I'm back. What does it feel like? In the God realm, after Tian came back, he felt that his strength suddenly increased, and he felt like he was in another world. I didn't feel it when I was in the reincarnation space, but when I returned to the God realm, I clearly felt that my strength suddenly became much stronger. Ding! The God's domain is also a part of the Gods. The system prompted. I see. Tian understood now. He logged into the reincarnation space in the God's domain, but the God's domain remained in the God's universe. The God's domain is also a part of his soul. So after returning to the God's domain, he had this feeling. Gods and mortals, the life levels are indeed different. Tian sighed, and when he was about to go out to see the time passing, the God's domain connector received a message. Huh? Is it her? Tian frowned slightly surprised by the woman who sent him the message. Chapter 9, Part 1. What does she want to talk to me about? Tian looked at the avatar and list of people in the message popped up by the God Realm connector, thought about it, and chose to connect. Ding! A flash of white light passed by, and in the image in front, a 17 or 18-year-old girl wearing a white princess dress appeared in front of him. Mu Qinger, his class monitor, and also the best student in the school except Tian. Sorry, I'm bothering you. Mu Qinger's soul image appeared in the God Realm, metaverse, and she was a little restrained. It was her first time to enter the boys' God Realm. However, Tian's God Realm was a little different from what she imagined. Unexpectedly, it was an endless ocean. The area of the God Realm was a little scary, 10 times that of her. Is he really a genius? It's a pity that the God Realm race chose the slime. If it weren't for the fact that the God Realm race was too weak, she felt that she might never catch up with Tian in this life. Class monitor, what's the matter? Tian had a lukewarm attitude. Although Mu Qinger is very beautiful, with a fairy-like temperament, and her family background and character are also excellent, her personality is somewhat aloof, and her relationship with Tian is just average. Moreover, it is very impolite to rashly apply to enter someone else's divine domain. As if she felt Tian's attitude, Mu Qinger felt a little embarrassed, but thinking of the purpose of this trip, she still said with a hard scalp, I came here to remind you that Zhao Xiaorui may cause trouble for you tonight. Zhao Xiaorui, the useless guy in the next class? Tian frowned when he heard this. Zhao Xiaorui's family background is not bad. Both of his parents had fought in the void battlefield. Later, they retired and turned to business, making a fortune. They also have a certain status among the wealthy nobles in Yangqing. And Zhao Xiaorui's eldest brother Zhao Tianrui is also a genius. He graduated in the same class as Tian's senior. Only Zhao Xiaorui, who has such a good family background, is a waste. His cultivation is only a demigod star, which is really eye-catching. But he is a waste, and Tian has no grudge against him. Is it because of you? Thinking about it, Tian's eyes suddenly became sharp when he stared at Mu Qinger. Obviously, this matter is related to this woman. I really didn't use you as a shield. Mu Qinger saw that Tian's eyes were not right, and she explained continuously, fearing that Tian would misunderstand. I haven't asked yet. Why are you so anxious? Tian couldn't help laughing. Is this considered confession? This beautiful class monitor also has a silly side. No. It's just that guy has been pursuing me before, and I got impatient. So I said that if his mock exam scores can surpass yours, I will consider it. This is how it has been quiet for half a year. I didn't expect that you had problems in the mock exam this time. I'm sorry. Mu Qinger lowered her head, looking like she was admitting her mistake. It really had nothing to do with Tian. She never dreamed that Chin's mock exam scores would be so bad. How many points did he get in this mock exam? Tian frowned. The comprehensive score is 150, the same as yours. Mu Qinger sighed helplessly. This sigh was not because she felt that Zhao Xiaorui's problem was difficult, but more because she felt sorry for Tian's talent. Tian's use of soul power and his understanding of the divine realm were far beyond his peers. Of course, with Tian's talent, if Tian was willing to bow his head, some forces would be willing to support Tian, a genius, but the price was to sign a contract to sell himself and become a slave of those powerful gods. Based on her understanding of Tian, it was impossible for Tian to give in. So, in order to prove that he is better than me, he might apply for a battle with my divine realm tonight? Tian guessed the truth of the matter at once. I'm sorry. Mu Qinger apologized again. If saying sorry is useful, why do we need the pacification bureau? Tian curled his lips and said, then do you need compensation from me? Mu Qinger's eyes lit up, and she stared at Tian with burning eyes. Tian was stunned. What's going on? She seemed to be eager for him to ask for compensation. Could it be that she had some special hobbies? Seeing Yi Tian's misunderstanding, Mu Qing'er hurriedly explained, "If you need a divine crystal stone or a silver-level divine race card, I can compensate you. As long as you defeat Zhao Xiaorui, you don't have to feel embarrassed. Just think of me hiring you." Oh, Yi Tian understood. This woman came to apologize, wanted to help him, and solved Zhao Xiaorui's trouble, which was not a big deal. And if Yi Tian couldn't log in to the reincarnation space, he would really agree to her request. But I refuse, Yi Tian said without hesitation. Why? Mu Qing'er's eyes were full of disbelief. I don't like trouble. It's easy to help you deal with Zhao Xiaorui, but this guy may cause trouble to me in the future. He has a brother and parents. Although the Shenzhou Empire strictly prohibits internal fighting and gods cannot be demigods, there are many ways to deal with someone, both openly and secretly. I hate trouble, Yi Tian said indifferently. I am wishful thinking, so you should consider it. Mu Qing'er thought about it, and it was indeed the truth. In fact, she wanted to say that she could ask her grandfather to warn the Zhao family, and the Zhao family should not dare to cause trouble to Yi Tian, but she thought about it and gave up. And Yi Tian looked at Mu Qing'er's appearance and was sure that she really wanted to help him and came here specially. But she was also sure that she caused him a little trouble. Ding! Zhao Xiaorui is on the Feiyu platform, and he is challenging you to live broadcast the battle in the divine realm. At this time, the Wanjia login system issued a prompt. The system has long taken over Yi Tian's divine realm connector, so any information from the outside world can be notified to Yi Tian in the first time. Neither Yi Tian nor Mu Qing'er expected that Zhao Xiaorui would declare war on Yi Tian on the Feiyu live broadcast platform. Yi Tian checked the information and found that the title of Zhao Xiaorui's live broadcast room was extremely arrogant. Demigod 1-star challenges Demigod 9-star, who is the strongest genius and the strongest loser in history. What does this loser want to do? Live broadcast the battle in the divine domain? Yi Tian's face was cold. Not only did he come to provoke him, but he also wanted to humiliate him in front of all netizens in the Shenzhou Empire. It seems that Zhao Xiaorui is not going to give up. If Yi Tian refuses to fight, it is estimated that the next day, reports such as, "The strongest genius in history is a turtle," will appear on major self-media on Shenzhou.com. Really looking for death. Yi Tian turned to Mu Qing'er and said, "I agreed. I still owe Ho Xiaofei 100,000 divine crystals. You pay it back for me." Mu Qing'er was stunned. She didn't expect things to turn around so quickly. She just said she refused. Are all men so fast? Just because I hate trouble doesn't mean I'm afraid of it. Yi Tian didn't want to earn Mu Qing'er's money, but Zhao Xiaorui was asking for trouble. With the Zhao family's background, there should be a lot of good things in Zhao Xiaorui's divine domain, so he accepted it reluctantly. Chapter 10, Part 1. Give it to Ho Xiaofei? 100,000 divine crystals are not a problem, but do you really not need my help? Mu Qing'er really couldn't figure out how Yi Tian had the confidence to face Zhao Xiaorui alone. It must not be relying on 500 slimes. Although the 500 slimes floating in the ocean of the metaverse are very cute, are they really capable of fighting? Just watch carefully. Yi Tian smiled slightly, and his figure flashed into the bottom of the metaverse, and then the green magic light shone in the ocean. Boom, boom, boom. The vibration like the creation of the world made the sea roll, as if a huge city was born out of thin air on the bottom of the sea. Temple? Mu Qing'er clearly sensed above the metaverse that a huge, ancient, but artistic ancient city was born in the underwater world. It was the legendary city of Atlantis. The ancient temple also contains the power of the sea god. Mu Qing'er regarded Atlantis as a temple. The core building of the god's domain is the temple. The temple can bless the fighting power of the races in the god's domain. And once the temple ignites the divine fire and condenses the divine nature, it can be promoted to a god. Therefore, the first thing all demigods build in their own god's domain is the temple. But Yi Tian's temple is too majestic and complete. It doesn't look like it was built by himself, but rather like the temple cards sold in the Baibao Chamber of Commerce. Mu Qing'er bought the temple from the Baibao Chamber of Commerce, but she found that the grade of her temple was much worse than Yi Tian's. Where did Yi Tian get the temple? Is there someone secretly supporting him behind the scenes? Mu Qing'er frowned slightly, and suddenly felt that Yi Tian was a little mysterious, not as simple as she thought before. But she didn't plan to get to the bottom of it. After all, everyone has their own secrets, and she is not that kind of woman. And Yi Tian didn't let Mu Qing'er leave, because Zhao Xiaorui was going to broadcast the battle live, and Mu Qing'er would see the process whether she was there or not, and she would know his temple at that time. Furthermore, Mu Qing'er was in his divine domain, and Zhao Xiaorui probably thought it was Mu Qing'er who gave it to him. 10 minutes later, Yi Tian used the magic venue Atlantis as a temple, and placed the cosmic energy stone obtained from the copy of Superpower Out of Control in the temple, activating the potential of all 500 slimes. Perhaps because slimes are too plastic, the effect is extremely amazing after obtaining telekinesis. It's time to start the war, wait and see. When Yi Tian appeared next to Mu Qinger again, he said lightly, Mu Qinger was infected by Yi Tian's confidence, nodded repeatedly, and stood aside like a well-behaved daughter-in-law, and she didn't even know why. Haha, he agreed. At the moment Yi Tian agreed, Zhao Xiaorui, who was still sneering on the Feiyu Live platform, was overjoyed. He always disliked Yi Tian. He is obviously an orphan from a poor family, but he is so dazzling and handsome. In the past, he really didn't dare to target Yi Tian, because Yi Tian had good grades and was protected by the school, and Shenzhou would never tolerate the persecution of genius gods. Therefore, Zhao Xiaorui, a little clever dude, did not have any conflict with Yi Tian even though he was jealous of Yi Tian. But today is different. The mock exam results came out, and Yi Tian failed. Now he is a fallen genius. Then he can be bullied at will. Not to mention, because Yi Tian is still an obstacle to his pursuit of Mu Qinger. Although Zhao Xiaorui also knew that Yi Tian was just an excuse, he couldn't stand this bad mouth. You deserve it. Watch me kill your God Realm race tonight. How can you have the face to stay in Yangqing in the future? Zhao Xiaorui confidently clicked to start the God Realm war, but he didn't know that he had started a nightmare. God's domain. Metaverse. Rumble. 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 The earth-shattering tremor, the sky torn apart, the dark clouds pressing down, a divine force coming from outside, causing a certain impact on the entire metaverse. Is this the God's domain battle? Although I have seen many videos, this is the first time I have seen it in actual combat. Mu Qinger found that watching the video and watching the battle on the spot felt really different, which made her soul tremble a little. Hehe, here it comes. Yi Tian ignored Mu Qinger, but looked directly at the God's domain race that appeared in the crack of the God's domain. Huh? There are actually 500 of them? Under the perception of Yi Tian's soul, he clearly saw a legion of 500 people. A legion of humanoids riding armored war horses, wearing heavy armor, and holding maces. They are no different from humans, except that they are bigger and have 3 eyes. Yi Tian, you have to be careful. Zhao Xiaorui's initial race in the God Realm is the Three-Eyed Clan, which is similar to the human race, but with several times stronger physique and powerful strength, but weak mental resistance. In addition, the Zhao family spent a lot of resources on him, and the initial number was 10 times that of the general Three-Eyed Clan, and he awakened the S-level talent of the Three-Eyed Clan, the Laser Eye, and his eyes can use lasers. Mu Qinger reminded on the side. The Zhao family is really willing to spend. Yi Tian sneered. Zhao Xiaorui's race in the God Realm is obviously much stronger than the average demigod. At least several million God crystals were smashed for a 1-star demigod. They are really willing to spend. Humph, Yi Tian, you are just jealous of me. At this time, Zhao Xiaorui, who entered the God Realm and wore luxurious armor, snorted coldly with a very gloomy face. He didn't expect Mu Qinger to be there, and talked happily with Yi Tian, which made him even more jealous. I'm jealous of you. I'm afraid it's the other way around. Yi Tian sneered. Zhao Xiaorui has the face to criticize others with the jealous eyes of a male dog in heat. It's really funny. Go to hell, Three-Eyed Tribe. Kill them for me. Zhao Xiaorui was hit in the sore spot and immediately broke his defense and directly ordered the Three-Eyed Tribe to attack. 500 Three-Eyed Tribe warriors, after receiving the order, immediately drove the Iron Cavalry to charge. Their Iron Cavalry are not ordinary. They can still run fast on the water and quickly approach the temple of Yi Tian. As long as they break through the slime defense line around the temple, they can destroy the temple unscrupulously without attacking the slime at all. Zhao Xiaorui is a demigod after all. Although he is a waste, he also knows the principle of capturing the king first. As long as he destroys the temple of Yi Tian, he can win. As for whether he can win, Zhao Xiaorui has never worried about this problem. 500 slimes without fighting power. Can they stop my 500 Three-Eyed Tribes? If they can, I will eat the slime's poop on the spot. Zhao Xiaorui sneered at the live camera when he saw that the situation was settled. His live broadcast room also caused a burst of laughter. After all, slimes have no fighting power, and no one has cultivated slimes above level 2, so the audience in the live broadcast room did not take it seriously. But Yi Tian looked very strange when he heard it. This guy, is he here to cheat for food and drink? What are you talking about? Yun Qinger said angrily. What kind of topic is this? Haha, then I will satisfy him. Yi Tian smiled coldly. He originally wanted to torture Zhao Xiaorui slowly, but the other party made such a request, so he satisfied him. Telekinesis fusion. With an order, 500 basketball-sized slimes actually all surfaced and all merged together to form a huge slime 10 meters high, several times the size of the Three-Eyed Tribe. This is not over yet. Telekinesis expands. Under the power of telekinesis, the giant slime absorbs the surrounding water to grow stronger, and its body continues to expand. It soon reaches a height of 100 meters, and its body is like a Godzilla. This? Zhao Xiaorui, Mu Qinger, and the audience in the live broadcast room were all stunned. Slime. Can you play like this? Chapter 11, Part 1. You cheated. This is not a slime at all. Zhao Xiaorui's mentality exploded. This is not a slime at all, but a deep-sea monster covered in slime skin. Just a few seconds after Zhao Xiaorui roared, dozens of three-eyed cavalrymen were swallowed by the giant slime. Decompose with telekinesis. Yi Tian smiled slightly and ordered again. Ordinary slimes have a lot of gastric acid in their bodies, which can even dissolve clothes. It goes without saying how strong the dissolving ability of a 100-meter-tall slime is. With the blessing of telekinesis, the three-eyed people were evaporated almost at the moment they entered the stomach. After eating these three-eyed soldiers, the size of the giant slime seemed to have increased again. Qualitative change caused by quantitative change. Your slimes have reached the level of third-order life. Mu Qing'er sighed. The races in the god realm are naturally divided into levels. Reaching the fourth level is a demigod life form. The third level is already the strongest life race below the demigod. Zhao Xiaorui's three-eyed tribe is only level 1. Although it is the top level in level 1, it is simply useless when facing a level 3 beast. It's okay, just a pseudo-level 3. Yi Tian said lightly. It's okay. Mu Qing'er didn't know whether to say that Yi Tian was modest or not. Yi Tian's strength of using the weakest race to achieve the strongest effect is just okay. Then what is she? No, if this goes on, the whole army will be wiped out, and I don't even need to take the college entrance examination. Zhao Xiaorui was completely panicked. If the three-eyed tribe was wiped out here, his parents would not waste so many resources for him, no matter how much they doted on him. Without a powerful divine race, he, who scored almost 0 in theory, would not be able to enter the University of Gods and become a god. I won't fight anymore. Retreat, surrender, and lose half. Zhao Xiaorui saw that the giant slime was still chasing his three-eyed soldiers and shouted hurriedly. Surrender and lose half? Who told you that? Kill them all. Yi Tian sneered. Since he had offended him, he would kill them all and leave no harm. If Zhao Xiaorui won, would he let him go? Yi Tian, damn it. Zhao Xiaorui gritted his teeth and took out a card, which emitted a blue light and formed a protective shield to wrap the giant slime. It is a barrier card made by the gods, but Zhao Xiaorui's weak divine power will not last long. He should want to block the attack of the giant slime, so that the troops can retreat. Mu Qing'er saw Zhao Xiaorui's plan at a glance and reminded him, do you want to escape now? But I don't plan to let him do so. Yi Tian stretched out his hand, and his own telekinesis was also blessed on the giant slime, and then he squeezed it. Telekinesis explosion. The giant slime over 100 meters high quickly condensed into a small ball of black light, and finally exploded after being suppressed to the extreme. The telekinetic power exploded like a black hole, and even the void was cracked. A single encounter shattered the divine power barrier that Zhao Xiaorui had deployed, and wiped out all the fleeing three-eyed people. Instantly wiped out. No. Zhao Xiaorui vomited blood and fainted directly, and his soul was forced to disappear in Yi Tian's divine domain. The battle in the divine domain ended. It took less than 10 minutes. Everyone in the live broadcast room felt incredible and a little unsatisfied, because they still wanted to see if Yi Tian had other moves, and whether he could play the slime in a fancy way. The most shocked person was Mu Qing'er. She didn't expect Yi Tian to be so strong, and could use the slime to this extent. If she were to command and control it, she could win, but she would definitely not be so invincible. Is this the genius who scored full marks in the theory class? Did you faint? At this time, Yi Tian was a little unhappy, because Zhao Xiaorui escaped because of the forced exit mechanism, and he originally planned to let Zhao Xiaorui fulfill his promise. His race in the divine realm was completely wiped out, so he must have been seriously injured. In addition, he was so angry that he fainted. Mu Qing'er came back to his senses and said, pause. But it's a pity for your slimes. They all exploded. Mu Qing'er was a little regretful. Exploded? Who said that? Yi Tian pointed to the metaverse ocean. All the slimes that exploded just now recovered, and the number reached 5,000. 5,000? They are not dead, and the number has increased tenfold. Mu Qing'er rubbed her eyes and looked at Yi Tian as if she was looking at a monster. They have the talent for regeneration. As for the number, it's very simple. Slimes have a strong reproductive ability. As long as they absorb enough life energy, they can split on the spot. The life energy of the three-eyed tribe is several times that of slimes. Yi Tian said lightly. The biggest gain of this battle is the three-eyed tribe brought by Zhao Xiaorui, and then the equipment left by the three-eyed tribe army is also very powerful. It can resist the explosion of slimes without being completely broken. It won't soar to 5,000 even if it's several times, unless your temple has the ability to increase the reproduction of races. Mu Qing'er is not stupid, and guessed the key point at once. Because high-grade temples have this function, the most important thing in the god's domain is the god's race, and the reproduction ability of the race is a very important training point. Not bad. This is not a secret. Yi Tian is frank. You really gave me a big surprise. I'm afraid that if the races in the god's domain are of the same level, no one can beat you. Mu Qing'er sighed, and a different look flashed in her eyes when she looked at Yi Tian. Yi Tian smiled and didn't comment. Come on, Yi Tian. I look forward to the day when you become a god. I have a feeling that the world of gods will be more exciting because of you, especially in this life. Mu Qing'er looked at Yi Tian deeply, and then withdrew from Yi Tian's god's domain. This life? Yi Tian thought Mu Qing'er's words were a bit interesting, and it seems that she didn't intend to say this sentence, but only told him because of his performance, hoping that he would work hard to become stronger. Becoming stronger? I hope you won't be too surprised when the time comes. Yi Tian thought of the reincarnation space and said with great confidence. Chapter 12, Part 1. The next day, ding-ling-ling, Yi Tian woke up leisurely on the second floor of the small bungalow, and the mobile phone made of Shunjing rang. Monkey, what's wrong? Didn't I ask you to help me ask for leave? Yi Tian clicked on the Shunjing mobile phone, looked at the fat and silly face in front of him, and said with some dissatisfaction, it must be unpleasant to be woken up by a phone call early in the morning. Although as a demigod, I basically don't need sleep, I'm used to it, and it's very comfortable to sleep, especially after practicing tired. Hee, I'm just excited for a while. Ho Xiaofei said with a smile. What are you excited about? Yi Tian was speechless. Brother, don't you know that the video of you defeating Zhao Xiaorui last night is now popular all over the country? Let me tell you, when I asked for leave for us today, the class teacher Zhang Wei's smiling face was as kind as my own father, and he approved it without saying a word. Ho Xiaofei said with a slightly exaggerated expression. You asked for leave too? Yi Tian smiled, and probably guessed what reason Ho Xiaofei used to ask for leave, and he must have used Yi Tian's name. Hee, thanks to your exaggerated record. Ho Xiaofei smiled but said nothing. What a fuss, it's just a slime. The primary gods can easily cultivate slimes to this level. Yi Tian said lightly. You said it's a primary god? How can gods and demigods be compared? They are not in the same dimension. Ho Xiaofei complained speechlessly. Is the gap so big? Yi Tian frowned slightly. He didn't forget his revenge goal. Isn't it big? My father said that if you want to become a primary god, the race of the god realm must have at least 1,000 third-level lives. Of course, 10 demigods and 10,000 second-level lives are also okay. Ho Xiaofei said depressedly. If you don't get into the god university, it's really hard to become a god. The high school students opened up the god's domain, and the initial race was only a small tribe, and it was still level 1. To grow to that level, you must be admitted to the god university, which is dedicated to training gods. However, that's it. Yi Tian blurted out. It seems that the gap is not as big as imagined. He now has 5,000 slimes, which are at least equal to the combat power of 10 level 3 when fused together. Although there is still 100 times difference, the slime reproduces so fast. As long as there is enough life energy, he can match the gods in minutes. That's it? Brother, can you speak human language? Ho Xiaofei was confused. He knew that his good brother was not the kind of person who would easily expand, but he still had to talk. Well, Xiaotian the Emperor, that's not what I said. You have to understand that gods have divine nature. Their divine races will be much more powerful with the blessing of divine nature. If they burn their lives to sacrifice themselves, they can also burst out with terrifying power. Even if they encounter a higher level life, they can still fight. With some special means, they may even win. Ho Xiaofei said seriously. He didn't want his brother to challenge the gods because of his arrogance and then suffer a big loss. Ho Xiaofei knew the grudge between Yi Tian and that senior very well. Although it was only a one-star god at the initial stage, Ho Xiaofei didn't think Yi Tian could defeat the other party now. In other words, the divine power of the gods is equivalent to 1,000 one-star demigods or 10 subgods. Yi Tian murmured. Subgod, a name between the demigod 9 stars and the primary gods, has a combat power close to that of gods, but has not reached the realm of gods. Almost, now you know the difference. Ho Xiaofei nodded. What kind of situation is Lin Lu in? Yi Tian asked. Lin Lu was the senior who cheated him at the beginning. Question mark. Ho Xiaofei was confused. 1,000 demigods or 10 subgods. Yi Tian curled his lips and said, his reaction was really slow. It should be the former. The combat power of most primary gods is equivalent to 1,000 demigods, so it is easier to condense the godhood. This is what my father told me. He is also a peak, middle-level god. Ho Xiaofei said with some pride. Middle-level god. It is the backbone of the era of gods. Son of god, demigod, primary god, lower god, medium god power, middle god, strong god power, upper god, also called true god. The textbook only mentions these 5 realms, each with 1 to 9 stars. Most high school students are not qualified and do not need to know the realms above the true gods, because most gods will never reach the middle god realm in their lifetime. Monkey's father is at the peak of the middle god. His strength and vision are indeed beyond words, and he also has a pivotal position in Yangsheng. Okay, stop showing off your father. Yi Tian laughed and scolded, then thought to himself, 1,000 one-star demigods? It is indeed difficult to defeat them with slime alone. It seems that he has to rely on his reincarnationist stealing corners plan. The third level life in the gods domain is equivalent to 1000 S level life in the reincarnation space after the extreme sublimation, but the S level strongman in the reincarnation space can definitely defeat the strong S level life with improved combat power in seconds, because most of the reincarnations have trump cards. So, the real combat power is equivalent to the combat power of 1000 A-level reincarnations. In the reincarnation space, although the A-level reincarnationists are the backbone, their number is definitely not small. After all, there are tens of billions of reincarnationists. Yi Tian calculated in his mind, and then set a small goal. Recruit 10,000 A-level reincarnationists. He will repay the original revenge tenfold. After a pause, Yi Tian looked at Ho Xiaofei and asked, "You woke me up early in the morning. What else is there? It's not just because of the trivial matter of me defeating Zhao Xiaorui. No big deal. I just want to tell you that tomorrow is the Baibao Festival. Baibao Chamber of Commerce will have special discounts, and there will be a 1 yuan rush at 12 o'clock tonight. Don't miss it." Ho Xiaofei paused and said, "Well, there's more." Yi Tian saw Ho Xiaofei's tone paused, and it was obvious that there was something else. "Hehe, the next thing is a big deal. Tomorrow, the only true god of our Yangqing town Fuzi will return from the void battlefield." Ho Xiaofei said, "You mean the true god Qin Yin?" Yi Tian thought of a name that everyone in Yangqing knew. A legendary figure from 100 years ago. He became a true god at the age of 30. He was the top man in Yangqing town Fuzi. He was known as the strongest genius in Shenzhou in the past 100 years, and a genius who had the hope of breaking through to the true god. Yes, it is Lord Qin Yin. However, Lord Qin Yan's return this time is not a simple change of defense, but a great achievement in the void battlefield. He will be rewarded by the royal family at that time. When Ho Xiaofei mentioned the royal family, his expression was extremely odd. Royal family reward? You mean that the royal family will come to Yangqing in the near future? Yi Tian was shocked. If even the royal family was shocked, then Qin Yan's military exploits in the void battlefield this time must be extraordinary. Chapter 13, Part 1. The royal family of Shenzhou is not only the symbol of Shenzhou, but also the pyramid of Shenzhou's fighting power. Shenzhou's Dinghai Shenzhen. It is said that members of the royal family with pure blood are born as primary gods. There is no need to say how many strong people there are in the royal family. Just the starting line is ahead of many people for a lifetime. The first emperor who established the royal family of Shenzhou is an invincible legend. His divine title is Zulong Shundi. In the entire Shenzuxing, only 5 gods with the title of Shindi were born, which are the founders of the 5 empires on the current Shenzuxing. Shindidi is a realm or a title. Yi Tian is not sure, but anyway it is stronger than the god king. I don't know how much foundation the 5 Shindidi left for the 5 empires, and the status of the royal family is unshakable. It can be said that even the gods above the true gods dare not show any disrespect to the royal family, let alone the true gods. Is the royal family really coming? Yi Tian thought. Everyone in the royal family has noble blood and rarely leaves the imperial city. Qin Yan's return from the battlefield may be more than just a reward. Of course, my dad told me to be low-key when I go out these days. Ho Xiaofei muttered. On weekdays, he is still quite high-profile when he goes out. Although he is different from Zhao Xiaorui, he is more or less arrogant. But if the royal family comes to Yangqing, he must not be so high-profile. It's better to be low-key. Anyway, it has nothing to do with us. Yi Tian nodded. It has nothing to do with me, but it has something to do with you. Ho Xiaofei said with a serious expression. Huh? Yi Tian was slightly stunned. What does it have to do with him? He is not an illegitimate child of the royal family who is stranded outside. It doesn't matter, but Lord Qin Yin also graduated from our school, and the place to commend him this time is chosen in our school. You will go on stage as a student representative. Ho Xiaofei said with some envy. It would be so face-saving to be able to stand with members of the royal family and Lord Qin Yin. However, damn, it's so troublesome. Yi Tian cursed directly. Ho Xiaofei. Did I hear it right? Such a glorious thing. You actually find it troublesome. Ho Xiaofei felt that Yi Tian was becoming more and more rude. Others would never get it in their 8 lifetimes. If you want to go so much, then go by yourself. Yi Tian said. Brother, I want to go. But the royal family asked you to be a student representative. Ho Xiaofei wondered. Because I defeated Zhao Xiaorui. Yi Tian said. Yeah, brother, your brain is fast. Ho Xiaofei smiled innocently. I don't know any members of the royal family. The royal family members asked me to be the representative. This is the only possibility. It seems that my performance last night was quite outstanding. Yi Tian murmured. He felt that it was natural for him to kill Zhao Xiaorui in seconds, but in the eyes of others, he was a bit of a demon. After thinking carefully, Zhao Xiaorui's God Realm race was quite strong, and his actual combat score was at least 100 points. Yi Tian killed him in seconds, and it was an invincible kill. Even the barrier card refined by the gods was broken, and he used slime. This is like Pokemon using Pikachu to defeat Zapdos. Only Pikachu can do it. You really have no self-awareness. Ho Xiaofei looked at Yi Tian with some resentment. Why is the gap between gods so big? Invisible pretense is the most deadly. His brother is getting more and more pretentious. He was worried about Yi Tian all night yesterday. He also wants to pretend. He also wants to be a non-human. Oh, what trouble. Yi Tian really didn't want to meet the royal family members. It was too high profile. It's troublesome, but I think it's a good thing. Think about it. When you stand in front of Lord Qin Yan and the royal family, the Zhao family will not dare to retaliate against you in the future. Zhao Xiaorui will avoid you when he sees you, and some divine universities may even admit you in advance. Ho Xiaofei analyzed it carefully. To be honest, it is true. Yi Tian nodded. In this world where theocracy is supreme, the royal family is the symbol of theocracy, and its influence is so great. So great that even the king of gods has to bow his head. Although he felt that there were other things about the royal family's arrival this time, it had nothing to do with him, and he was too lazy to think about it. That's it. I already know the matter, monkey. You can go away. I still need to sleep. Yi Tian nodded, then turned off the Shenjing mobile phone and took a nap. Ah, I haven't said anything about my matter yet. Ho Xiaofei was puzzled. He had something else to ask Yi Tian. Now the phone couldn't be reached again, so he could only talk about it after school the day after tomorrow. Time passed, and he slept until noon. The divine light shone on his body, and Yi Tian got up lazily. It's 12 o'clock. I have to do business. Yi Tian planned to enter the reincarnation space again tonight, so he had to go to the Baibao Chamber of Commerce to buy an extremely important thing. Reincarnation altar. An altar that can revive one's own race in the god's domain. This is very important for Yi Tian's next plan in the reincarnation space, and will determine whether he can trick the reincarnators into serving him. Although gods have the ability to revive their own races in the god's domain, the divine power of the demigods is not enough to revive the dead. Otherwise, Zhao Xiaorui would not have been so desperate last night. Only with the reincarnation altar can the demigods revive the dead races. Moreover, it also needs to consume divine power. If the divine power is not enough, only divine crystals can be used. This is also one of the reasons why Zhao Xiaorui is desperate. The Zhao family has already spent millions of divine crystals on him, and it will cost more to completely revive the 500 three-eyed people. The Zhao family can be regarded as a wealthy family, but it is only in Yangqing. It is good to have a net worth of 100 million divine crystals. They will also be very hurt if they spend tens of millions of divine crystals at once. What's more, the reincarnation altar is very expensive. I only have 160,000 reincarnation points. If I convert them all into divine crystals, I will only get 160,000. After leaving the house, Yi Tian silently calculated his property in his heart and found that the money was still not enough. The Baibao Chamber of Commerce can be purchased online, but the reincarnation altar is really expensive. The worst one requires 100,000 divine crystals. Although Yi Tian has money, after thinking carefully, he decided to go to the Baibao Chamber of Commerce in person. Because the Baibao Chamber of Commerce not only sells things, but also recycles treasures. He wants to see if there are any rare treasures that are in short supply in the Baibao Chamber of Commerce. The things that the Baibao Chamber of Commerce lacks may be easily bought in the reincarnation space. Yi Tian just wants to be a middleman and make a profit. Not to mention, Yi Tian thinks that his middleman plan has great potential. Because the reincarnation space has copies of all the heavens and worlds, basically any treasure can be obtained. The simplest example, the infinite gems of the Marvel Universe. Doesn't the Baibao Chamber of Commerce accept them? I guess the Chamber of Commerce boss will buy it after selling the Baibao Chamber of Commerce. Hee, maybe I can get rich overnight? Yi Tian thought secretly, and then stepped into the skyscraper where the Baibao Chamber of Commerce was located. Wow, that little girl is amazing. How much food did she eat? I don't know. The rice bowls are piled up into a small mountain. Chong, this appetite is unparalleled. Little foodie girl? As soon as Yi Tian entered the door, he felt that the style of painting was a bit wrong. Is the Baibao Chamber of Commerce holding a big stomach king competition? But there was no publicity around. With the idea of less trouble, Yi Tian did not plan to join in the fun. But he didn't want to join in the fun, but he didn't expect that the fun would take the initiative to find him. P.S. This book has 6 updates every day. This is the chapter that I didn't have time to upload yesterday. There are 6 more updates today. Chapter 14, Part 1. Brother Yi Tian. As soon as Yi Tian turned around in the mall, a sweet voice like a silver bell came from behind him. Yi Tian raised his eyebrows and turned around to see a cute little girl with silver hair and a school bag, blinking her big cute eyes at him. And the customers around the mall were all looking at him, especially the noodle shop owner next to the mountain of rice bowls. Especially the noodle shop owner had a strange and unfriendly look. Tian instantly realized that it should not be a big stomach king competition, but a free meal. And the little girl who ate so many noodles should be the cute little girl in front of him. Little sister, do we know each other? Tian pointed to his face and asked. Yeah, I know brother Tian, and sister Chinger. Sister Chinger often mentions you. The little girl smiled. Tian, this is also considered knowing. But it seems that this little girl also knows Mu Chinger. Is she her relative? Brother, can you pay for me first? The little girl said, pulling the sleeve on his arm. This girl has great power. At this moment, Tian was a little surprised. Although there was a seal of the gods on the Earth's ancestral star, which prevented the gods living on Earth from destroying the Earth, the power was real and would not be weakened. Tian was a demigod 9-star, and the little girl's power was almost enough to pull him. Did she start practicing since she was born? I'll pay for you. Don't you have money? Tian was not so poor that he couldn't afford a meal. Although the little girl ate a lot, the price was at most a few hundred god crystals. It was just a drop in the bucket for him now, but why did she ask Tian to pay? And Tian paid. I never pay for meals. The little girl said sincerely. But I have this. After a pause, the little girl's eyes turned, and she smiled and took out a dark golden coupon, shining with divine light. Tian's system immediately displayed its attributes. Babao Chamber of Commerce coupon. Baibao Chamber of Commerce coupon with law rune engraved. All items below True God are 10% off. This. Tian was slightly surprised. It was actually a 10% discount coupon from Baibao Chamber of Commerce. Could this girl be the daughter of Baibao Chamber of Commerce? Otherwise, it would be impossible to get such a treasure. 10% off, 10% off, to buy items below True God. It is definitely a treasure. Hee, brother Tian came here to buy something. So this coupon is very useful. The little girl said proudly. I do want to buy something, but do you really want to pay with this? Tian felt that the value of this coupon was far more than a few hundred god crystals. This thing is useless to me. The little girl muttered. That's true. Tian didn't think much about it. This little girl might be the daughter of Baibao Chamber of Commerce. Even if she wasn't, she was a noble daughter of Mu Chinger's level. The coupons from Baibao Chamber of Commerce were really useless to her. As for why she ran out alone and ate a free meal, Tian knew there must be a reason, but he didn't ask because he was not familiar with her, and everyone had their own secrets. Thinking of this, Tian directly paid for her meal, then took her coupons and walked into Baibao Chamber of Commerce. And after Tian paid, the little Lolita didn't continue to follow him, but jumped on her chubby little carrot legs and strolled towards the mall. This little girl always feels that she is not that simple, but she will definitely not suffer any loss with such great strength, so don't worry about her. Tian only glanced at the little Lolita's back, and then ignored it, walked into the elevator, and went to the top floor of the mall Baobao Pavilion. Baobao Pavilion. Baibao Chamber of Commerce is a counter that specializes in selling rare treasures. As soon as Tian entered the door, he saw a lot of goods starting at 100,000 god crystals. The goods displayed at the door are all 100,000 god crystals. This Baibao Chamber of Commerce is quite high-end. Tian took a rough look and found that they were all good goods. For example, God's Domain Spaceship, Defense Tower, Large Defense Barrier, Formation, etc. There are also God's Tools and Weapons, God's Props that can only be fully exerted by gods, armor that can defend against the attacks of 9-star primary gods, and daggers that can hurt primary gods. And the goal of his trip, the Reincarnation altar, is also in the cards placed in the second row of crystal cabinets at the door. The price ranges from 100,000 god crystals to millions of god crystals. Tian carefully checked the card information and finally took a fancy to an altar with a black skull card. Altar of the Underworld. It comes from the Underworld, contains the blissful pure land of the Underworld, can preserve soul imprints, can revive the dead, consumes very little divine power, but the disadvantage is that the resurrected life will be stained with the breath of the Underworld, and is not suitable for survival in the human world. Price. 1 million divine crystals. The breath of the Underworld? Not suitable for survival in the human world. Could it be turned into an undead race? Tian roughly guessed the disadvantage of this Underworld altar, but if it didn't have this disadvantage, its value would be at least 10 times what it is now. Being able to preserve soul imprints means that not only can it revive its own divine race, but any life that is willing to give Tian a soul imprint can be resurrected by Tian. And the divine power consumed to resurrect them is very little. These two advantages are what Tian needs most now. They are also the most important part of Tian's reincarnation space plan. God really helps me. Is my luck really that good? Tian even doubted whether he was destined to be the Emperor of Luck. The treasure pavilion has everything. Sir, are you interested in this underworld altar? At this time, a beautiful young lady at the counter came to Tian and said with a smile. Indeed. Tian admitted frankly. Sir, you have a good eye. This underworld altar is said to come from the divine realm of a fallen Hades. It was not originally sold directly, but was exchanged for goods. However, it was put on sale because of its defects. However, if the race in the divine realm is the underworld undead, obtaining this altar will be like adding wings to a tiger, like a fish in water, and it is not an exaggeration to say that it is invincible at the same level. The young lady was very frank and explained the advantages and disadvantages of the underworld altar very clearly. And when she saw that Yi Tian was so interested in this underworld altar, she also thought that Yi Tian's race in the divine realm was the undead. The altar of the underworld king? I see. Then pack it up. Yi Tian directly exchanged 100,000 reincarnation space points for 100,000 divine crystals and handed the young lady the coupon he had just obtained. Sir, please wait a moment. The young lady originally just regarded Yi Tian as an ordinary wealthy customer, but after seeing the coupon, her attitude immediately became respectful. Even during the transaction, even the female manager came over, calling him Mr. Yi, which made Yi Tian a little embarrassed. It seems that the girl is really from the Baibao Chamber of Commerce. After buying the underworld altar, Yi Tian was more certain about it in his heart. The goal was achieved, but Yi Tian did not leave immediately. Instead, he continued to stay in the Baibao Pavilion, but not to buy goods, but to come to the treasure appraisal room in the center of the Baibao Pavilion. In the treasure appraisal room, Yi Tian did not want to appraise the treasure, but wanted to check what treasures the Baibao Chamber of Commerce would recycle. After reading it, Yi Tian found that he had a misconception in his thinking. That is, the Baibao Chamber of Commerce basically does not lack any treasures, but even if it does not lack treasures, it still recycles all treasures. Conduct auctions, collect handling fees, help people find treasures, earn middle prices, etc. TSK. Awesome. Yi Tian somewhat admires the money-making methods of the Baibao Chamber of Commerce. If he has such a chamber of commerce under his command, he can make a fortune every day. Hey, if I create such a chamber of commerce in the reincarnation space to earn points for me, it seems feasible. Yi Tian's mind flashed, and he thought of such a brilliant idea. Moreover, the chamber of commerce created by Yi Tian, who can go back and forth between the two worlds, will have greater advantages, and can recruit a group of subordinates with particularly business acumen, and leave all the troublesome things to them. It seems that I still have some business acumen. Chapter 14, Part 2. Yi Tian smiled, and he was not very interested in the idea of earning middle prices before. After all, it is not as direct as opening a chamber of commerce, and it is not as valuable as opening a chamber of commerce. But just when he was about to leave the treasure appraisal room, he unexpectedly saw the treasure hunting bounty posted on the wall. SSS Level Treasure Hunting Order. Chapter 15, Part 1. SSS Level Treasure Hunting Order. Reward content. Treasures that can heal the wounds of the true god's body. You will get the friendship of a peak true god and 10 top-grade artifacts. Top-grade artifacts, 10 pieces. Yi Tian was a little surprised. Top-grade artifacts are artifacts of the upper level of the true god. 10 pieces, even if it is a true god, it is basically all his wealth. It seems that the body of a true god has been seriously injured and cannot be healed. Yi Tian secretly thought in his heart whether he could benefit from it. There must be treasures in the reincarnation space that can heal the true god. Yi Tian first thought of the fairy beans in the Dragon Ball world. As long as there is a breath, you can be resurrected in full state, provided that the physical injuries are not healed. For physical injuries, fairy beans can heal, even if the strength reaches the level of the destroyer god. In the Dragon Ball world, it is still effective. System. Can fairy beans heal the damage to the true god's body? Yi Tian said. If it can be healed, then Yi Tian can enter the Dragon Ball copy a little earlier. Ding. Okay. The Wanjialagan system immediately gave the answer. Sure enough, the power of the true god is still a little weaker than that of the Dragon Ball universe. Yi Tian remembered the setting of the Dragon Ball world. If the god of destruction and the Super Saiyan god did not control their power, 3 punches at full strength would destroy the universe. The true god of the god universe should have reached the level of Starburst, far from the level of destroying the universe. The legendary God King is rumored to be galaxy level, but it is just a rumor. But in any case, it is stronger than Yi Tian's current demigod. Although it is safe to be sealed by the gods on the ancestral planet Earth, Yi Tian does not like this feeling of being protected. True God, God King. I am still too far away now, but one day I will catch up with them. Yi Tian clenched his fists and vowed in his heart to take an invincible road. Invincible in the world. And to embark on that invincible road, the reincarnation space is indispensable. Tonight, we will start the second step of the reincarnation space plan. With a determination in his mind, Yi Tian walked out of the treasure appraiser without looking back, and then quickly returned home to set up the altar of the underworld. Divine Domain. Metaverse. Boom boom boom. The moment the altar of the underworld was sacrificed, the legendary city of Atlantis and the ocean of Metaverse trembled. The temple seemed to sense the horror of the altar of the underworld, and the 5,000 slimes also trembled. But soon they quieted down because Tian integrated the altar of the underworld into the seabed, opened up a subspace, the underworld. And this result was actually unexpected by Tian at the beginning. Perhaps it was the hidden characteristics of the altar of the underworld, because it came from the underworld. Ding! Congratulations to the host. You have obtained the divinity of Hades and comprehended the power of space. Current attributes: Lord of the Divine Domain, Tian. Combat power, S+++. 4th level Great Perfection, Demigod Great Perfection. Talent, Regeneration, Divinity of Hades, Power of Space. Passive skill, Physical Resistance Reduction. Skill, Telekinesis. Reincarnation points, 60,000. Item, Heaven's Chain. Temple, Atlantis. Altar, Hades Altar. Divine Race, Slime. Number of races, 5,000. Demigod is perfect. Tian's strength has also been improved by a level due to the expansion of the Divine Realm and the strengthening of the Divine Realm races. The most obvious is his soul and body, which can at least beat several of his previous selves. As for divine power, the sum of divine power is equivalent to the sum of the power of the Divine Realm races. This is the most helpless part of demigods. Before becoming a primary god, the divine power of demigods cannot compare to the power of their own bodies and souls. Tian's Divine Realm race is slime, and the power of 5,000 slimes cannot provide much divine power for Tian. However, Tian has an S-level skill, telekinesis, which can make up for this shortcoming. The strength of telekinesis depends on the spirit. Tian's soul is very strong, so the power of his telekinesis far exceeds his divine power. The gods in the universe of gods fight by entering the other side's divine domain, and the victory or defeat depends on the divine domain races of both sides. The gods do not like to participate in the battle in person, and the actual combat link of the college entrance examination only considers the combat power of the divine domain race. This unreasonable combat mode is said to be related to the void battlefield. So far, Tian has never had a 1v1 duel with a demigod, but if he were to take a duel, 100 Zhao Xiaorui would not be enough for him to defeat in seconds. The difference between the 1-star demigod and the Great Perfection demigod is nearly 100 times in terms of divine body strength alone, not to mention that Tian also has telekinesis that can match the Great Perfection level divine power of a demigod. In the universe of gods, my personal strong characteristics cannot be fully exerted. Tian felt a little regretful. In fact, the divine domain battle is a bit unfair to a god like him who is very strong individually. But the race of the god realm must be cultivated, because the stronger the race of the god realm, the stronger he will become. In the god universe, the more you reach the later realm, the more important the race of the god realm is. Before cultivating to the true god, there is almost no bottleneck, just brainlessly mass the troops. The key lies in resources. Without entering the void battlefield, it is almost impossible to have enough resources to raise the race of the god realm to the threshold of promotion to the true god. However, Tian still has the reincarnation space. In the reincarnation space, the resources are absolutely sufficient, and in the reincarnation space, personal strength is crucial. The most important thing is that as long as the plan succeeds, Tian's race of the god realm will be endless. That's a whole world of reincarnations. System, log into the reincarnation space. Thinking about it, Tian couldn't wait, and immediately called the Wanja login system to start the login in the god realm. Ding! Login successful. In the reincarnation space, the Emperor of Heaven is here again.
Loving the audiobooks? Your support on Patreon helps me keep them coming. Check out the link in the description. A huge thank you for your support. Now let's dive into the next chapter.
Chapter 16, Part 1. This Samsara Tower is still so majestic. Tian entered the Samsara space for the second time, and looked at the skyscrapers that seemed to have no end, and still felt a little emotional. Samsara Tower, endless. Perhaps this Samsara space is designed in this way to warn the reincarnators that the road is eternal and has no end. As if he understood a little, Tian smiled slightly, and then walked into the dungeon hall. Samsara Hall. After Tian came in, he directly searched for the goal of this trip, the Ninja Continent dungeon. To be precise, it is the Naruto dungeon. It's just that the Samsara space hides the real name of the dungeon, because the name Naruto is too obvious. When all the reincarnators enter the dungeon to choose a force, they must choose the Konoha Ninja Village, so that this dungeon loses its meaning. And Tian's goal of entering the Naruto dungeon this time is not the tailed beast or the Sharingan, but the Book of Seals of the Konoha Ninja Village. To be precise, it is to obtain the most important ninjutsu immortality in the Book of Seals. Impure World Reincarnation, a bug-level ninjutsu, can revive the dead as long as there is blood gene, and the dead still have an almost immortal body and inexhaustible chakra energy. Apart from other things, the tactical value of this ninjutsu itself is very strong. In the original Naruto, Kabuto Yakushi used this ninjutsu and played a great role in the Ninja World War. If Tian uses this ninjutsu to fight the God Realm War, his enemies will really cry for their parents. And Tian wants Imperial World Reincarnation, more to revive those dead reincarnationists. In the reincarnation space, if the resurrection function is used to revive one person normally, Tian's points are enough. But to revive 10 billion dead reincarnationists, the price is unbearable for Tian, and no force in the reincarnation space can afford it. But Impure World Reincarnation should not require points, as long as there are sacrifices and the blood genes of reincarnationists. Imperial World Reincarnation, as a skill brought out by the reincarnation space, it can definitely be used in the reincarnation space. The soul data of the reincarnationists must be saved in the reincarnation space. Otherwise, how can the reincarnationists be resurrected? Moreover, those who were resurrected by the Impure World Reincarnation were not real reincarnations. Their reincarnation watches had long been gone. They were just temporary combat puppets, although they could retain their consciousness. They thought that if they were completely resurrected and wanted to become reincarnations again, they would work hard to fight for Tian in exchange for merits. As for how to get merits, it was still up to Tian to decide. As for whether the reincarnation space would allow Tian's somewhat buggy behavior, Tian thought about it carefully, and the reincarnation space had no reason to punish him, because the reincarnations resurrected by the Impure World Reincarnation should belong to Tian's combat puppets. Even if there were 10 billion combat puppets, it would not be a violation. The more reincarnations there were in the reincarnation space, the better. Even if they were all resurrected, it would only benefit the reincarnation space and not harm it. The biggest problem with this plan was actually the blood of the dead reincarnations, but Tian had checked it in the reincarnation forum. After so many years of national reincarnation, many reincarnations would leave a copy of their own gene samples in the reincarnation hospital, hoping that one day if they had an accident, someone would revive them with gene samples. With gene samples, resurrection can save a lot of points. But most of them are loved ones and friends, and even loved ones and friends, many of them can't afford the price and can't do anything. In contrast, some large reincarnation forces often resurrect reincarnations. These large forces are rich and powerful, and it is normal to resurrect some outstanding reincarnations or children of high-level officials. Some forces even use the lives of reincarnations to open up wasteland, and then share information after they are resurrected. However, this behavior is strictly limited in the reincarnation space. The memories of the resurrected reincarnations will be missing, and the strength will decline according to the death situation. Sometimes, no useful information can be obtained and a large number of elites are lost, which is a loss of both the wife and the army. However, although the strength has declined, the combat power of most reincarnations is superior to that of the semi-gods in the divine domain. The combat power of the divine domain race of a one-star primary god is only 1,000 A-level reincarnations. And Tian's resurrection of these deceased reincarnations is just the second step of his plan to steal the corner. The third step is to truly win over those living reincarnations. Create a divine race composed of reincarnations. And Tian also named this plan the Reincarnation God Clan Plan. Just summon 10 billion reincarnation gods and ask the enemy if they are afraid. Tian raised his mouth slightly and then walked towards the door of the Naruto copy. The door of the Naruto copy is easy to find because there are too many reincarnations at the door of the copy. I'm from Konoha, who can form a team? I'm from Mist Ninja, who can help me explore the mystery of the annihilation of Mist Ninja Samsara? Shabi. All the Samsara of Genin died when they entered Mist Ninja. It's really like picking a lamp in a toilet, looking for death. This guy is also a talent. Come to the land of lightning, although the management style of Cloud Ninja Village is a bit like the army, but the strength is really strong. Himph. The third generation Raikage died at the hands of our 10,000-strong coalition of Rock Ninja. Brother, it's safest to come to our land of Earth. Listening to the noisy team formation, Tian was a little speechless. It feels like forming a group to play a dungeon. Is this really a reincarnation space? This handsome guy, is he a newcomer? At this time, behind him, a royal sister who was a little too beautiful, with a temperament as charming as fire, and dressed a little like Yin Lingji, came with a surging momentum, instantly attracting the attention of countless people around. I guess so, Tian said lightly. He has only performed a reincarnation mission once, so he should be considered a newcomer. No wonder, it's very common to form a team in the reincarnation space. You look so surprised you're a newcomer. Sister Yinling explained with a chuckle. Are you not afraid of backstabs when forming a team? Tian said bluntly. It's not the time when the reincarnation space just came. There are more cooperations than hostilities among reincarnations, especially those big forces who will not easily go to war with each other. Most of the individual teams will buy a space contract to prevent backstabs. After a pause, Sister Yinling reminded with a serious expression. Of course, if there are major interests, backstabs must be backstabbed. The space contract is not omnipotent, and there will be some loopholes. I understand, thank you. Yi Tian did not intend to form a team with others. He said politely and turned to walk into the Naruto copy. Ah, leaving now? The little sister Yin Ling was a little surprised. She had said so much to Yi Tian out of kindness, just to ask if he was willing to form a team with her. If Yi Tian was willing, she could even recommend him to join her reincarnation force, Quicksand. Unexpectedly, is this the straight man in this world? Straight men deserve to be single for life. Miss Yin Ling gritted her teeth and cursed secretly, and then walked into the Naruto copy. But the moment she entered the copy, she heard a prompt that shocked her. Player Tiandi, use the time-space login card. The login timeline of subsequent reincarnations entering the ninja continent will be adjusted. He is Tiandi? Chapter 17, Part 1. I didn't expect that he was the Emperor of Heaven who got an SSS rating. I just wanted to team up with him. Yinling Yujia blushed slightly. She originally thought that Yi Tian was a newbie and felt that she had a good impression of him, so she wanted to take him with her. Unexpectedly, the other party turned out to be that Emperor of Heaven. Her behavior just now was probably a bit frivolous in the eyes of others. Ah, how shameful. Yinling Yujia shouted for a while, and then entered the dungeon without a trace. When she entered the dungeon, she found out that the timeline was adjusted to more than 10 years before the beginning of the plot, not long after the end of the Third Ninja World War, when Minato Namikaze served as the fourth Hokage. Because she was a fire-attributed psychic, she used the dungeon identity card to choose the Uchiha clan of the Konoha Ninja Village, which happened to be in the same ninja village as Yi Tian. But she didn't know that Yi Tian also chose Konoha. At this time, Yi Tian appeared in a huge manor in Konoha Village. The manor was blessed by a ninjutsu barrier, and ordinary people could not see the scene inside. It was obviously the secluded clan of Konoha's top family. Master Tian. When the guards passing by the manor saw Yi Tian, they all shouted respectfully. Because Yi Tian's identity is the direct descendant of the Senju clan, and the descendant of Senju Hashirama's cousin. For this identity, Yi Tian spent 3 copies of identity cards. One identity card can only allow him to obtain the identity of the Senju clan, which is a very marginalized identity. If you want to become a direct descendant, you have to consume 2 more identity cards. And becoming a direct descendant is not only convenient in identity, but also has another benefit: the immortal body. I directly awakened the immortal body. Yi Tian felt the endless vitality and recovery power in his body, and was very surprised, but with a sense of the soul, it was definitely the immortal body, and there was no escape. Ding! Congratulations to player Tiandi for obtaining the Sage Body, SS? Sage Body. SS level physique, with physical potential close to that of a sage, with extraordinary recovery and physical strength, and by practicing any system at the same time, you can obtain amazing energy, such as chakra, spiritual power, divine power, vitality, armed color domineering, etc. Ding! After obtaining the Sage Body, the host's divine body power is close to that of an initial level god. At this time, the Wanjialagan system also joined in the fun. The physique of an initial level god is only SS level? Yi Tian frowned slightly, feeling that the physique of an initial level god is a bit weak. At most the level of Hashirama Senju, not even as good as the Six-Path Sage. And the demigod physique is at most the level of the tailed beast. Ding! The gods of the god universe belong to the domain god system. Their advantage lies in the domain law and their inherent immortality, but their individual strength is not strong. Their divine bodies and souls are relatively weak among the gods and demons in the heavens and myriad worlds. In fact, the host's individual strength is greater than the combat power of the god domain, which is considered an outlier. Domain god system? That's true. The gods on the god planet all rely on the god domain and the god kingdom to fight. Yi Tian nodded, and then asked a key question. Is the god domain god system considered powerful in the heavens and myriad worlds? Ding! Very powerful, one of the top god systems. The system replied in seconds. Why? At present, it seems that it is not very strong compared with other god and demon systems. Yi Tian has always had some thoughts in his heart, because his strength far exceeds that of his own god domain race. If it were not for the improvement of the god domain to make his god power stronger, he would not want to cultivate the god domain race. It is better to spend all the resources on himself. Ding! In the late stage of the domain god system, the god domain can evolve into the kingdom of God. The kingdom of God can evolve into the universe, and the universe can continue to evolve. Does the host still feel weak? The system explained. Hiss. It seems that I still underestimated the power of the god system of the god universe. After listening to the system's explanation, Yi Tian stopped questioning the god system. He even felt that the god system really had unlimited prospects, because the core of the entire god system lies in the word resources. Moreover, Yi Tian has the entire reincarnation space as a backstage. Even dual cultivation is not a problem. He can cultivate the god domain race and strengthen his personal strength, and there is no conflict. Master Tian, there is a letter from Tsunade-sama for you. At this time, A senior ninja wearing an umbu mask flashed in front of Yi Tian and knelt on one knee. Tsunade? Yi Tian was slightly stunned. Because of the identity card and the time-space login card, there was an extra memory. Tsunade's beautiful face and proud bear spirit emerged in his mind. In this memory, he and Tsunade were childhood sweethearts. He was of the same generation as Tsunade and was considered Tsunade's younger brother. Their relationship was a bit like that of orthopedics in a certain country. Moreover, because of Yi Tian's identity, Tsunade and Kato Dan were just ordinary friends. This is the power of the time-space login card plus identity card, which directly affected part of Tsunade's fate. But Tsunade still left Konoha because of the darkness of Konoha and the unclear death of her brother. But even if Tsunade left the Konoha ninja village, she would occasionally contact him. Of course, most of the time she would ask him to borrow money. Hee, Tsunade, that big fat sheep. Every time she gambles, she will lose. A letter? It should be to persuade me to leave Konoha, a place of trouble. Yi Tian took the letter, asked the Jonin to leave, and then smiled coldly. He didn't even need to read the content of the letter, and he guessed it. Because the period he chose was when Minato Namikaze was the 4th Hokage, 1 month before the Nine-Tails Rebellion, which was 1 month before Uzumaki Naruto was born. During the period when Uzumaki Naruto was about to be born, Konoha was about to be in turmoil. Since the death of the 2nd Hokage, the Senju clan, except for the lineage of Senju Hashirama, basically moved out of Konoha village. If it weren't for the setting of the identity card, Yi Tian would not have stayed in Konoha. Tsunade wrote to him at this time, obviously worried that someone would take advantage of the chaos to harm him. It's a pity that Tsunade didn't think of it. I am also going to take advantage of the chaos to make trouble in Konoha. After Yi Tian glanced at the contents of the envelope, he found that it was almost the same as what he thought, so he tore it up directly. Although Tsunade was kind, she didn't know that Yi Tian was the biggest boss of Konoha now. The sealbook of Konoha Ninja Village. If there is no Nine-Tails Rebellion, it would be difficult to grab it. And the Nine-Tails Rebellion caused countless casualties in Konoha. For Yi Tian, it is also a good choice to reincarnate a group of Konoha elites as the race of the God Realm. Chapter 18, Part 1. There is still 1 month left. Let's practice ninjutsu first. Yi Tian deliberately chose the month before the Nine-Tails Rebellion, just to practice ninjutsu first. Otherwise, he would not be able to use the sealed book immediately. Among ninjutsu, Yi Tian's favorite is illusion, not for anything else, but because of his powerful soul. With his soul power and his own divinity, if he gets the Sharingan, the effect of the illusion he casts on ordinary people may not be weaker than that of the gods. There is no rush to plan the Sharingan, because it is not the time for the Uchiha clan to be exterminated. Without the Sharingan, it is enough now. As for whether you can learn it, there are only 3 things to practice ninjutsu. Chakra plus your own control and use of chakra plus understanding and creativity of ninjutsu. Yi Tian also has a sage body, so practicing chakra may be twice the result with half the effort. Even chakra belongs to the Otsutsuki family, and the speed of practice with a sage body may be faster than taking a train. For Yi Tian, who has reached the great perfection of demigod, whose soul is particularly powerful and who has strong control over energy, practicing ninjutsu is not a difficult thing. Illusions, the Senju clan doesn't seem to have many clanlands left. The Senju clan is not good at illusions, and the collection of illusions is small. With most of the clan members moving out of Konoha to live in seclusion, Yi Tian has no way to learn any advanced illusions in his own manner. Although there are some low-level illusions, Yi Tian is not interested in them. Then, I can only ask the Hokage for them. Yi Tian smiled slightly. He said something to the guards left behind by the Senju clan, and then walked out of the clanland in a swagger. Is this Konoha village? It's not much different from the scene in the comics in the previous life. Walking on the street, Yi Tian carefully looked at the scene of Konoha and found that the Konoha ninja village was really prosperous and the people were simple. It's just that most villagers, even many ninjas, don't know the darkness hidden in Konoha village. That rotten root? As long as that rotten root is still there, Konoha will have no future. By the way, after entering the dungeon this time, there is no mission yet, and I don't even know what the main mission is. Is it because of the login time? Yi Tian realized that he had not triggered the mission yet. He still doesn't know enough about the reincarnation space. However, the Nine-Tails Rebellion will happen in a month. He will never believe that the reincarnation space will not issue missions to the reincarnators. After strolling for a while, Yi Tian came to the Hokage's office in the center of the village. Master Tian? The 2 jonins guarding the door were slightly surprised to see Yi Tian, the rare guest. Since Tsunade-sama left Konoha, this little ancestor usually likes to stay at home. Why did he come out today? I'm looking for Minato Namikaze. Yi Tian said lightly. Minato Namikaze is Jiraiya's apprentice. Jiraiya is of the same generation as him, and he has a noble status, so there is no problem calling him by his name directly. Of course, he can call him like this, but the 2 guards can't. Lord Hokage is upstairs, please follow me, Master Tian. Among the two guards, the Jonin who looked a bit ruffian, who seemed to be half a disciple of Minato Namikaze, seemed to have the last name Shiranui, but Yi Tian forgot his name. He walked in front and took Yi Tian upstairs. Lord Hokage. Shiranui Gunma came to the door of the office and knocked gently. Please come in. Minato Namikaze said lightly. Master Tian, please. Shiranui Gunma opened the door and said respectfully to Yi Tian. Well, that guy, you are good. I am optimistic about you. Before entering the door, Yi Tian saw that Shiranui Gunma was so respectful and patted his shoulder and said. Shiranui Gunma lowered his head, his face full of black lines. Option me? My little ancestor, can you remember my name before saying this? However, when Yi Tian said he was optimistic about him, it was not a polite remark. In a world like Naruto where the death rate of ninjas is so high, this guy can survive to the end, which is really a bit of a skill. Tian, how come you have time to come to me today? After Shiranui Gunma left, Namikaze Minato asked very familiarly. Looking at the handsome blonde young man in front of him, Yi Tian flashed a memory. In his memory, although Yi Tian was an elder, the age difference was not big, and he was not very arrogant, so he could chat with Namikaze Minato and his wife. After thinking about it, since they were quite familiar with each other, let's get straight to the point. I'm here to learn ninjutsu, Yi Tian said. Learn ninjutsu? Didn't you have no interest in ninjutsu before? Namikaze Minato was a little surprised to hear this. Just because I didn't have interest before doesn't mean I won't have interest in the future. What's more, Konoha seems to be a little weird recently. Yi Tian smiled meaningfully. Namikaze Minato paused after hearing this, and smiled brightly after a while. Konoha, there is nothing weird. He said this without any confidence. Yi Tian twitched his lips and said, forget it, you are the Hokage. If you say there is no, then there is no. Namikaze Minato was speechless and didn't know how to reply. Can you take me to see the Book of Seals now? Anyway, you are quite free. Yi Tian said. The Book of Seals, you have to learn the ninjutsu in the Book of Seals. Namikaze Minato was a little surprised, because the Book of Seals recorded almost all the ninjutsu and forbidden techniques of Konoha, and it was not an exaggeration to say that it was the lifeblood of a village. Hey, is there any need to be so surprised? Most of the ninjutsu and forbidden techniques in the Book of Seals were created by my second grandfather, Tobirama Senju. If I don't learn the Book of Seals of Konoha, should I learn the Rasengan you created? If you are willing to teach me, I don't care. Yi Tian said confidently. As a descendant of the Senju clan, is he not qualified to learn the ninjutsu created by his family? No matter how you say this, Konoha is not right. If the high-level officials of Konoha village dare to refuse, he will slaughter the high-level officials of Konoha on the night of the Ninetales Rebellion. You want to learn the Rasengan? It's not that I can't teach you, but the Rasengan depends on your understanding. Minato Namikaze murmured. He was not stingy, but he didn't think Yi Tian could learn the Rasengan. Don't avoid the important things. Can't I learn the ninjutsu in the sealed book? Yi Tian's face was a little cold, and Minato Namikaze changed the subject a little. Minato Namikaze felt that it was reasonable to show Yi Tian the sealed book, but the sealed book was too important. Although he was a Hokage, he was always tied up in doing things. The elders and the third-generation Hokage were just dividing his power. If the sealed book was shown to Yi Tian without the consent of the elders, it would be a headache again at the meeting. Minato, sometimes I doubt whether you are the Hokage or not. Yi Tian couldn't stand seeing Minato Namikaze's indecisive look and wanted to hit him. Of course I am the Hokage. These words seemed to hurt Minato Namikaze's heart and made him look serious. Then let me ask you, the Book of Seals is originally managed by the Hokage. Who does the Hokage need to be approved by others to show it to? When the third Hokage was in power, did he need to get approval from others? I can't learn the ninjutsu in the Book of Seals. At worst, I will leave Konoha and return to the Senju clan. There are many people willing to teach me, but I think you should not be the Hokage, so as not to embarrass yourself. Yi Tian sneered. Minato Namikaze felt a pain in his heart after being scolded by Yi Tian, but he didn't know how to refute. After a long time, he took a deep breath, as if he had made up his mind. I understand. Come with me. However, even the Hokage cannot let you watch the forbidden techniques and some special ninjutsu in the sealed book at will. Minato Namikaze finally looked like a Hokage at this moment. As for the forbidden techniques, Yi Tian did not plan to learn them now. It would be easy to deal with it after knowing the location of the sealed book. I didn't plan to learn many ninjutsu this time. Even if you don't take me to see the sealed book, the result will be the same. Yi Tian said lightly. Anyway, when the Ninetales Rebellion comes, he can easily get the sealed book, and it will not be a problem to slaughter the high-level officials of Konoha at that time. Then why are you so fierce in your words? Minato Namikaze was a little puzzled. I just can't stand it. Yi Tian said. Chapter 18, Part 2. Hearing this, Minato Namikaze was silent for a while, and finally smiled at Yi Tian with a sunny smile. Thank you Thank you? Did this guy misunderstand something? Yi Tian was stunned. Ding. Player Tiandi received the heartfelt gratitude of Namikaze Minato and completed the hidden mission, True Fourth Hokage, and received the reward, Flying Thunder God Technique. This can also complete the hidden mission. Chapter 19, Part 1. Flying Thunder God Technique. Space-Time Ninjutsu. After practicing, you can jump through the set, space-time nodes, ding. Because the player Tiandi has the power of space, he automatically comprehends the Flying Thunder God Technique and obtains S-level chakra, shadow level. Current attributes: player, Tiandi, combat power, S+++, 4th level, demigod, talent, regeneration, Hades divinity, space power, passive skills, physical reduction resistance, skills, telekinesis, ninjutsu, flying thunder god technique, reincarnation points, 60,000. Items: Heaven's Lock, copy ID card X2, space-time login card X2. You learned it already? Yi Tian felt that the surprise came too suddenly. I haven't read the Book of Seals yet, and I've learned the space-time ninjutsu. The power of space is really a good thing. After mastering the space-time ninjutsu, Yi Tian's combat power has been raised to another level. He can be said to be invincible in Konoha village. What's wrong? Minato Namikaze asked curiously when he saw Yi Tian suddenly stop. Nothing. Yi Tian smiled, looking at Minato Namikaze as if he was looking at a boy who brought fortune. Why does it feel a bit weird? Minato Namikaze didn't know why he felt a bit like a thorn in his back when being stared at by Yi Tian, but he didn't feel any danger, it was just weird. At this moment, he didn't know what kind of gift he brought to Yi Tian, and he was grateful to Yi Tian because Yi Tian woke him up to be a real Hokage. Minato Namikaze had thought about being stronger before, but his personality was too gentle, and he couldn't take back the power in the end. In fact, if he made up his mind, Minato Namikaze's strength was the strongest in Konoha at present. His wife was the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, and his teacher Jiraiya was one of the 3 ninjas. He was also very prestigious among the Konoha ninjas and villagers. If he became strong, Konoha would still be his decision. The 3rd Hokage and Danzo were not a concern at all. As long as Minato Namikaze shows enough strength and builds his own power, it will not be difficult to get the 3rd Hokage to give up his power. After the 3rd Hokage is dealt with, what threat will a mere Danzo and those useless elders pose? Unfortunately, it's too late. Yi Tian shook his head slightly behind Minato Namikaze. If Minato Namikaze had realized it earlier and made Konoha village a solid block, the Nine-Tails rebellion in the future would not have killed him. It's too late now, there's no time. Although Yi Tian can suppress Uchiha Obito and the Nine-Tails, Yi Tian has no feelings for the Konoha ninja village and hates the Konoha high-level officials. If he doesn't destroy Konoha, those high-level officials of Konoha should burn incense and worship Buddha and thank heaven and earth. It's impossible to expect to help Konoha, and it's impossible in this life. The sealed book is here. After arriving at the secret room where the sealed book is stored, Minato Namikaze used a secret technique to unlock the sealed book. Yi Tian found that the sealed book was very close to the Hokage's office, and the guards around it seemed quite lax. No wonder Naruto in the original novel was able to get it so easily. Of course, it was because it was Naruto that he could get it easily. Just like Yi Tian can come in easily now, without even checking who brought him in. Shadow clone, illusion, darkness walking technique, water style, waterfall technique. Yi Tian quickly flipped through the ninjutsu in the sealed book. Namikaze Minato was quite generous, and basically gave him the authority to unlock all ninjutsu, unless it was an S-level ninjutsu or a secret forbidden technique. You read the ninjutsu so fast? Minato Namikaze thought Yi Tian's behavior was a bit childish. There's nothing to see, ninjutsu equals chakra plus seal. It's that simple. Yi Tian said indifferently. Minato Namikaze. If ninjutsu was that simple, he wouldn't be called a genius. To learn ninjutsu is to have a sufficient understanding of ninjutsu, and advanced ninjutsu also requires control of the changes in the form and attributes of chakra. You don't believe it? Yi Tian glanced at Minato Namikaze, and then simply made a seal. Shadow clone technique. Bang. After a burst of white smoke, Yi Tian's shadow clone appeared in front of Minato Namikaze. Minato Namikaze was convinced. Although the shadow clone is easy to learn, a person who has never learned ninjutsu can only learn it, which is indeed genius level. I didn't expect you to be a genius. Minato Namikaze felt a little regretful. If Yi Tian had practiced ninjutsu earlier, he would be another Kage-level strongman now, and Konoha would be even stronger. And Yi Tian supported him, so that some of his ideas could be successfully implemented in Konoha. Okay. Just as Minato Namikaze was sighing, Yi Tian had already closed the scroll of the sealed book. What are you doing? Minato Namikaze asked in astonishment. I've finished reading it. Yi Tian pointed to his brain. He was a demigod. With his brain capacity, was it difficult to remember thousands of ninjutsu? Minato Namikaze was a little shocked. After leaving the Hokage's office, Yi Tian smiled contentedly, especially when he thought of Minato Namikaze's last expression, haha, he laughed even happier. People's physiques cannot be generalized, not to mention that I am a god, even if I am only a demigod now. Yi Tian was able to achieve such a gain, thanks to the divine body and soul given to him by the divine universe. Of course, this is inseparable from his own efforts for more than 10 years. He has been silently training his divine body and divine soul for more than 10 years. Otherwise, he would not be called a genius. If a brainless demigod like Zhao Xiaorui came here, it is estimated that the shadow clone would not know how long it would take to learn. Senju Yi Tian. Just when Yi Tian was less than 100 meters away from the Hokage's office, two ninjas dressed like Umbu appeared in front of him. Umbu? No, it's the root. Yi Tian smiled coldly. Most of the ninjas in the Umbu are controlled by the third-generation Hokage, and the rest obey the fourth-generation Hokage. The subordinates of these two Hokages would never call him by his name. Only the puppies raised by that old dog Danzo would be so rude to him, the young master of the Senju clan. Danzo, please. Please don't make it difficult for us. The two ninjas of the root organization said in a somewhat indifferent tone. Ha ha ha, I have to go just because Danzo invites me? Who the hell is he? Yi Tian laughed, unbridled. Then I'm sorry. The two ninjas saw that Yi Tian didn't cooperate, so they took action directly, using the shadow imitation technique to connect Yi Tian's shadow. That dog Danzo is really lawless. Yi Tian smiled coldly. He had decided he would slaughter the elders of Konoha. Even Jesus couldn't save them. Chapter 20, Part 1. First, collect some interest. Since he was going to kill Danzo and the others, Yi Tian would naturally not let go of the two root ninjas in front of him. Telekinesis blast. Bang. Yi Tian only glared at the two ninjas who were performing the shadow imitation technique, and the invisible telekinesis crushed the two ninjas and exploded instantly. Moreover, under the wrapping of telekinesis, it did not even alarm the guarding ninjas near the Hokage's office. Player Tiandi, kill the special ninja Narajui, and get 500 reincarnation points. Player Tiandi, kill the ninja Narakuroki, get 1000 reincarnation points, and get the ninjutsu, Shadow Secret Art. Killing monsters can also explode equipment? It seems that after a month, I can't help but go on a killing spree. Yi Tian grinned, and his interest in killing Danzo and the others became even stronger. After a pause, Yi Tian looked at the shadow in the corner and said coldly, you can come out now. Damn it, he found us. I'll hold him back. You retreat first, report to Lord Danzo. Senju Yi Tian has been hiding his skills. The two root killers in the corner panicked immediately. Danzo sent them just to be on the safe side, to prevent Namikaze Minato from rescuing them. But they didn't expect that Namikaze Minato was not alarmed. But Yi Tian killed their two companions in an instant, and now they can only fight desperately. Ninjutsu, heart-turning technique. Instant body technique. Two ninjas, one used the soul secret technique of Yamanaka, one of the three major secret technique families of Ino, Shikaku, and Cho, to enter Yi Tian's body and control him for a short time. One directly used the advanced instant body secret technique and ran towards the root's base. Soul secret technique? Self-destruction. Yi Tian laughed sarcastically. Without the soul secret technique of the Yamanaka family ninja, his soul could directly enter his soul sea. Well, how is it possible? The moment he entered Yi Tian's soul sea, the ninja of the Yamanaka family was backfired and nothing was left. The soul power of the two, one is like the Wangyang Sea, and the other is just a drop of water. There is no comparison at all. Player Tiandi, kill the special ninja Yamanaka Taro, get 500 reincarnation points. Get a special item, Soul Fragment. Soul Fragment can absorb and strengthen soul power, and can also be used to refine soul tools. One by one, the treasure boys are so cool. Yi Tian sighed, killing is really fun. And because the soul of this Yamanaka Taro was crushed in his soul, the dissipated soul memory was also read by Yi Tian. Let him know many secret places of the root and the hiding place of Danzo. Very good, Yamanaka Taro. You have a place in the impure world reincarnation. Yi Tian smiled, and then his figure flashed and disappeared into the void. Player Tiandi, kill the senior ninja Hirata Ichiro, get 1000 reincarnation points, and get advanced instant body technique. When Yi Tian came out of the void, he had a head in his hand, the head of a ninja. The ninja named Hirata Ichiro died with his eyes wide open. He was about to see the entrance to the root base, and his neck suddenly broke. Before he died, he didn't understand why Yi Tian knew the time and space ninjutsu. And when was Yi Tian's flying thunder god mark planted on him? My flying thunder god mark is an invisible spiritual power. Yi Tian murmured, as if explaining to the dead Hirata Ichiro. After that, he threw the head at the entrance of the root base and wrote a line of big words in blood. When the root ninjas rushed out of the base, they were all very angry. Especially the old man standing in front of them, who seemed to be dying, Danzo Shimura. I will kill Danzo. Even the six-path sage can't save him, I said. Looking at this line of bloody words, Danzo's face turned black with anger. This was clearly an assassination attempt against him, Danzo, and the root. The target of the assassination was the 4 capable subordinates he sent out. Who is it? Senji Yi Tian? Impossible. The strong men in their clan had long left Konoha. He doesn't have that ability. Namikaze Minato? He's not so cruel. Is it the 3rd generation or the Uchiha clan? Or those people? Danzo was very angry and panicked because he was very afraid of death, and he would not be able to sleep if he couldn't find the murderer. Humph, no matter who it is, I will make you pay the price, Danzo Shimura said coldly. At this time, the murderer Yi Tian, who Danzo personally denied, was swaggering back to the clanland of the Senju clan. Danzo probably never dreamed that it was him who did it. When Danzo finds out, that will be his death. Now Yi Tian knows the whereabouts of the sealed book and has obtained a lot of ninjutsu secrets. He will practice slowly in the next month and wait for the day of the Nine-Tailed Rebellion to complete this mission. But when he passed by the Konoha Security Bureau, which is the territory of the Uchiha clan, he saw a beautiful face he had seen before. Is it her? Yi Tian was slightly startled. Isn't this the lady who chatted with him at the door of the copy? Unexpectedly, she also entered this copy and chose the Uchiha clan. I don't know whether to say she is lucky or unlucky. Lucky because the Sharingan is a good bloodline, but the Uchiha clan is not having a good time in Konoha now, and it will be only a few years before the night of extermination. It's you, Lord Tiandi. When Yi Tian looked at him, the flame spirit lady also noticed Yi Tian's gaze and was immediately overjoyed. Unexpectedly, she and Lord Tiandi chose the same camp. At least there would be no hostility, and maybe they could cooperate. Yeah. Yi Tian nodded, not wanting to talk to her anymore. He didn't trust anyone in the reincarnation space unless they signed a contract with him and became his divine race. Otherwise, nothing to talk about. Emperor, please stay. Sister Yin Ling saw that Yi Tian didn't even turn his head and immediately didn't want to miss this opportunity, so she flashed in front of him. Not bad speed. Yi Tian commented lightly. This speed was at the level of an elite jonin. Hehe, thank you Emperor for your praise. Sister Yin Ling smiled. Just say it if you have something to say. Yi Tian didn't want to waste time. Emperor, I triggered a hidden mission of the SSS level. Sister Yin Ling looked around and said in a low voice. If you complete a hidden mission of the SSS level, won't you be able to get a super god evaluation directly? Yi Tian looked a little strange. This girl seemed to have a bit of good luck. P.S. The current realms in this book are Son of God, Demigod, Lower Primary God, Middle God, Upper True God, and there are more realms such as God King. God King is at the galaxy level, but there are stronger realms in the future, otherwise the God universe would not be so powerful and could prevent all alien life from entering. Chapter 21, Part 1. You told me such an important thing. Aren't you afraid that I will harm you? SSS level hidden mission. If Yi Tian knew how to trigger it, it would definitely not be the turn of Miss Yin Ling. You know, there is only one SSS level super god evaluation in a copy. So Yi Tian didn't understand why this obviously senior reincarnation in front of him trusted him so much. Just because he was a heavenly emperor with super god evaluation? Because you are handsome. Faced with the question, Miss Yin Ling blurted out, Yi Tian. Although Yi Tian agreed with her, he didn't believe this reason at all. Hehe, just kidding. Miss Yin Ling chuckled and said with a smile, I have more than one talent, one of which is a bit special. I can sense the kindness and malice of other reincarnations, as well as my compatibility. Your talent is really good. Yi Tian immediately understood. Did she come to him as soon as she saw him, knowing that he had no ill will towards her from beginning to end? And if the compatibility is compatible, it proves that both parties are the kind of people who are easy to have a good impression of each other. Sister, I'm not a good person. In the place where you were born, many people call me a witch. Miss Yin Ling said with self-mockery. And then, this has nothing to do with your SSS level mission. Yi Tian said bluntly. Miss Yin Ling rolled her eyes at Yi Tian with resentment. Where is the compatibility? This man is straighter than steel. A girl is willing to confide her past to the opposite sex. What does it mean? Don't you know how to appreciate it? Alas. After being stunned for a long time, seeing that Yi Tian was still so unromantic, Miss Yin Ling sighed helplessly and said, There are 3 real reasons. First, because of my talent, I feel that you are kind and trustworthy, and you are so powerful that I guess you will not bother to attack me, although I am quite looking forward to it, hehe. This made Yi Tian roll his eyes. Seeing that her teasing was successful, Miss Yin Ling was a little proud, and then said solemnly, Second, although SSS level hidden tasks are extremely rare, there must be a few people who have encountered SSS level hidden tasks in the reincarnation space for so many years, but no one has completed them. I don't want to die. Third, I have a hunch that you can complete it, and even without this task, you can get an SSS level evaluation. After listening to her explanation, Yi Tian understood. SS-level hidden tasks, with her strength, are tantamount to death. No one has completed SSS-level hidden tasks in the reincarnation space for so many years. The two most important points are that she does not know the information, and her strength does not match the task. The Samsara space has been developing for so many years, and there are many strong people, including gods and demons. However, there are limits to strength and dungeons. When the strength can complete the SSS level task of a dungeon, it is very likely that you can no longer enter that dungeon. But Tian knows the information. As long as the strength matches the task, the SSS level information will be easily obtained. Therefore, if this Miss Yinling does not share this SSS level hidden task with him, Tian is indeed likely to reach the SSS level evaluation in the Nine-Tailed Rebellion. By then, she will have nothing to do. Women's intuition, it's really unreasonable. Tian nodded slightly, and in his heart he recognized this Miss Yinling. It's not that he likes her, but this woman is bold and careful, gifted, and seems to have a special taste for him. She dares to love and hate in her personality, and is very straightforward. Most importantly, Tian thinks that she dares to admit that she has an SSS level hidden task, so there must be a trick. The Samsara space can resurrect people. She dared to gamble with her life. There must be a force behind her. Emperor Tian, you don't have your own power, right? At this time, Miss Yinling seemed to have guessed Tian's thoughts and said with a smile, "You want to win me over?" Tian said, "Hee, you are worthy of being the Emperor Tian. In fact, it can't be said that you are winning me over. I just want to cooperate with you on behalf of our organization. Cooperation in the reincarnation space is very important." Miss Yinling said meaningfully, "Is this SSS level hidden task a sign of sincerity for cooperation?" Tian said with a smile, "Smart people are powerful and understand everything at once." Miss Yinling said with a burning gaze, "However, I refuse." Tian shook his head and said decisively, "Why?" Miss Yinling was a little unbelievable. "You said that I can get an SSS level rating by myself. I have enough confidence in myself." Tian said leisurely. Miss Yinling was a little confused. She didn't expect the result to be like this. "But cooperation is impossible. If you and your forces are willing to submit to me, I can consider accepting you." Tian turned around and tried to win them over. It just so happened that he needed to build his own forces and create the Samsara God clan. "In this case, you should join us. Our legion, Lucia, respects the strong. Unless your strength exceeds that of our queen, this force will be yours." Miss Yinling still said with a cunning look in her eyes. "Lucia?" Tian frowned slightly. Could it be that this legion made its fortune in the Qin's Moon or Tianqing Joga dungeons? No wonder this Miss Yinling looks and dresses a bit like Yinling Ji, and her attributes are exactly the same, but her strength is much stronger than Yinling Ji. Maybe there is some connection between the two. But the strong are respected. That's easy to deal with. Tian is still very confident in his strength. But he won't agree now. This woman is still a little naive to trick him. Although he doesn't know what realm the Queen of Lucia is in, this woman is very confident. Maybe she is a veteran force in the reincarnation space. If it is a god-demon level enemy, he can suppress it with the heavenly lock. But if it is an SS level strongman without divinity, what about the SSS level strongman? Tian will not be fooled. Let's talk about this later. Now I give you two choices. I will help you complete the hidden task, but I want 90% of the reward. For the second choice, you can ask for your own luck. Tian put forward his own conditions. "You are really a vampire." Miss Yinlingji was a little angry. She actually wanted a 90% reward. But the initiative was on Tian's side, and she had no choice. She would either lose the 10% reward or watch the mission fail. Forget it. Tian didn't have time to deal with her and turned away. "Okay, I agree, but I have to sign a contract." Yinlingji had no choice but to agree, but for the sake of caution, she still needed to sign a reincarnation contract. "Okay, you pay for the contract points." Tian nodded and said, "Stingy guy." Miss Yinling rolled her eyes at Tian with resentment, but she didn't refuse. In this way, the two parties signed a contract to complete the PY transaction, and then obtain the content of the SSS hidden task. No wonder she wants to find someone to cooperate with. For this task, knowing the intelligence is useless. You also need the strength of an S-level reincarnationist and the ability to limit space. Tian said secretly, "Emperor Tian, this task won't be difficult for you." Miss Yinling leaned in front of Tian's face, blinking her eyes, looking a little nervous. If even Tian couldn't complete this task, it would be a pity. Why is she back? Tian was about to reply, but suddenly saw a familiar fierce figure in front of him. Tian, good. I didn't expect you to be here looking for flowers and asking willows instead of the clanland. Humph, and it's an Uchiha woman. An unexpected person appeared. Chapter 22, Part 1. Wow, Emperor Tian. Who is this woman? When Miss Yinling turned around and saw the woman who called Tian, she was startled. So fierce, super fierce, baring teeth and claws. She thought she was fierce enough. But compared with that woman, she was really a small witch meeting a big witch. Tsunade, why are you back? Yi Tian was a little surprised. Tsunade wrote a letter to him in the morning, and how could she rush back to Konoha in the afternoon? Yes, the fierce woman in front of him was Tsunade, one of the 3 ninjas of Konoha. A strange woman who relied on medical ninjutsu to dominate the ninja world. Although Tsunade's temper was a bit explosive, her appearance was really impeccable, and her posture was unparalleled, making Miss Yinling, a peerless beauty, ashamed. Why can't I come back? I'm not a traitor. Besides, if I don't come back, I'm afraid you won't know how to die. Tsunade came over angrily and pulled Miss Yinling away, feeling a bit protective of her child. Miss Yinling felt Tsunade's hostility. It was obvious that Tsunade was using her actions to show, "Don't try to steal my man. I'm so angry. If I can't beat her." Miss Yinling gnashed her teeth, mainly because her strong perception detected Tsunade's terrifying chakra. Moreover, Tsunade's speed was not clear under her Sharingan, which showed how terrifying Tsunade's strength was. Kage level. Miss Yinling was shocked. Her strength was also outstanding among the elite Jonin. She was stronger than Kakashi in normal time period. The only one who could be stronger than her was Kage level. Kage level, Tsunade. Is she the Konoha princess among the 3 Konoha ninjas? It was just that the reincarnation space also touched some basic information of the Naruto copy, and Miss Yinling quickly associated Tsunade's identity. The little brat of the Uchiha family, even I don't recognize her? Tsunade curled her lips slightly. She had only left Konoha for a few years, and the descendants of the Uchiha family, the old rival of the Senju clan, didn't recognize her. It was really a cold tea after people left. Her situation is a bit special. I'll explain it later. Come back to the clan with me first. Yi Tian pulled Tsunade to his side and said that he didn't want to make a big deal now. Konoha village didn't have anything to worry about, but it might attract the attention of other reincarnations. There must be many reincarnations who followed him into the dungeon. There must be more than 2 reincarnations in Konoha village. Humph, you defend her so much? Don't forget which family she is from. Tsunade doesn't like the Uchiha clan. After all, her grandfather died with Uchiha Madara. How could she have a good face when seeing the people of the Uchiha clan? Besides, the Uchiha clan is really annoying, too arrogant, and has never been integrated into the village. The popularity of Uchiha is really bad. Yi Tian thinks Tsunade is not the kind of narrow-minded person. Well, anyone with eyes can see it. But this is not the point. The point is her reaction to the Uchiha, which can also reflect the attitude of other Konoha big families. Well, Emperor Tian, I'm leaving first. Remember our agreement. At this time, Miss Yinling saw that more and more people were watching the excitement around her, and this was the Uchiha clan's security station, and even the clan leader Uchiha Fugaku was alarmed. Anyway, the contract with Yi Tian has been reached, and Yi Tian also knows the content of the mission. Just notify her when the action starts. Okay. Yi Tian nodded, and then took Tsunade, who was hesitant to speak, away. After Yi Tian and Tsunade left, the people around did not disperse, but talked about it. Wow, that's Tsunade-sama. Tsunade-sama is back, and is led away by a pretty boy. How is it possible? What pretty boy? You are an idiot. That's Master Tian, also from the Senju clan. I see, but even so, I'm still envious. Yeah, I'm so envious. I don't even crave power anymore. Then what do you crave? Well, taste it yourself. Senju clanland. Tell me, what is your relationship with that woman? After returning to the manor, Tsunade let go of Yi Tian's hand and asked solemnly. Not even friends. Yi Tian said directly. You are not friends, but you are making eyes at each other. Are you in a trading relationship? Tsunade's eyes were strange, as if Yi Tian had learned bad things. To some extent, Tsunade was right. But Yi Tian would not admit it, asking for trouble. Why did you come back suddenly? Didn't you just write to me this morning? Yi Tian changed the subject. Humph. Tsunade looked at Yi Tian deeply, and then said, I didn't come back because I was worried about you, but I was worried about Konoha. Recently, the ninja world has also received a lot of news. Really? Yi Tian said with a smile. No. Otherwise. Tsunade's eyes flickered. Yi Tian, who was familiar with the plot, knew very well that if Tsunade was not persuaded by Naruto's persuasion in the future, she would never return to Konoha. There is only one possibility for her to come back, that is, there are still people she can't let go of. Even if she wrote a letter, she still felt uneasy and was afraid that the high-level officials of Konoha would take advantage of the chaos to attack her, so she came back in person. You should know that Tsunade's younger brother, Nawaki, was killed by his own people, and his internal organs were hollowed out. Moreover, it happened right under Orochimaru's nose. Konoha's Pot King Danzo must not escape this matter. There were only a few people who studied the cells of the first generation of Hokage in the original work. At that time, Orochimaru had not yet turned evil, and the time of Uchiha Madara and Obito did not match. So there was only one truth, Pot King Danzo. Unfortunately, Tian knew it, but Tsunade didn't. Although Tsunade had doubts, she had no evidence. I will seek justice for you. Tian was still a little touched when he saw Tsunade rushing back for him. Although the relationship between him and Tsunade was fabricated by the reincarnation space, this memory in his mind was extremely real. Since Tsunade is willing to treat him as a relative, he will help her get justice. It seems that he originally planned to slaughter the high-ranking officials of Konoha. Now he has achieved 3 goals at once. And if Tsunade is willing to follow him, he has a way to turn her into his god's familiar, that is, the messenger of the gods. Paying a certain amount of reincarnation points should be able to take her out of the copy world. What justice? Do you know something? Tsunade frowned slightly. She felt that Tian was a little different from before, but she couldn't tell where the difference was. You will know when the time comes. Tian said in suspense. Mysterious, but don't go out recently. After the matter is over, you and I will leave Konoha together. Tsunade looked serious and said in a nervous tone. She was a little afraid that Tian would refuse. Leave together? Are you serious? Don't regret it. Tian said with a smile. Why should I regret it? Just agree to it. Konoha has long ceased to belong to our Senju clan. Tsunade didn't know the deep meaning of Tian's words, but she felt relieved. Staying away from Konoha means staying away from power disputes, and at the same time, staying away from that girl from the Uchiha clan. Seeing Tsunade's appearance of being on a pirate ship without knowing it, Tian smiled and said, just don't regret it. And it just so happens that I am planning to practice ninjutsu this month. Tsunade knows a lot of ninjutsu secrets, and even some forbidden techniques. These advanced ninjutsu have not been included in the sealed book. You finally want to learn ninjutsu, that's great. I can teach you. Tsunade patted her chest and promised. Teaching a beginner ninjutsu is not easy for her, a dignified Sannin. You teach me, are you sure? Tian smiled mysteriously, hoping that Tsunade would not be hit in the next month. Chapter 23, Part 1. Time flies, and in the blink of an eye, a month has passed. Super Strength Fist. Super Strength Fist. Boom. A huge explosion sounded from the Senju clan's manor, shaking the surrounding ninjutsu barrier. After the thick smoke, 2 figures flashed out. Who? Are you a monster? Tsunade wiped the sweat from her forehead and complained with a numb look in her eyes. Opposite her, Tian patted the dust on her shoulders leisurely, naturally, and freely. Thank you for admitting it. I didn't let you, you monster. I even doubt whether you have awakened the wood release. Tsunade always felt like seeing her grandfather Senju Hashirama when she faced Tian. Whether it was Tian's strength or the kind of intimacy in her blood, they were very similar. And the most important thing is that in 1 month, she has practiced all the ninjutsu she knows, and some of the ninjutsu she doesn't know. She is simply a monster. Would release? Theoretically, I can control it with my sage body and the blood of the Senju clan. But Tsunade doesn't know would release either, so she can only learn it from the Book of Seals. Tian thought to himself, get the Book of Seals tonight, and that SSS level hidden mission. After preparing for so long, it's finally time to harvest the fruits. What are you thinking about? Tsunade came to Tian, straightened his collar for him, and asked, thinking about tonight. Tian said, in the past month, his relationship with Tsunade has become better and better, and now there is no need to hide such things from her. Tonight, do you mean Kushina will give birth tonight? Although Tsunade didn't know how Tian knew the exact time, she believed that Tian didn't need to lie to her about such things. As the strongest medical ninja, she also knew that Uzumaki Kushina would definitely give birth in the next few days. The 3rd-generation old man came to me some time ago and asked me to help take care of her if there was an accident. Tsunade's face was a little complicated when she thought of this. He can command people, but unfortunately this matter is beyond his control, and you can't help. Tian said disdainfully. What do you know? Tsunade asked curiously. It doesn't matter, we are all leaving anyway. Tian said. In this month, he also deliberately went to find Miss Yenling, and learned from her the way to take the characters from the copy world away, but the conditions were harsh and the price was a bit high, so few people did it. But it was not a difficult thing for Tian, and that little price was a big profit compared to Tsunade. Yeah. Tsunade nodded. If it was when she just came back, she would definitely ask about the root cause. Now she is ready to fly away with Tian, and she doesn't want to care about the mess in Konoha. Besides, it's just that she still retains some feelings for her hometown in her heart. Tsunade thought for a moment and said, what will happen to Konoha? They will be seriously injured. They will have to bear the consequences of their own sins. Besides, they have to thank me. Those dying ninjas will not die in vain. Tian said. As long as he gets the Book of Seals, he can perform the impure world reincarnation, and the ninjas who died in the Ninetales Rebellion can become his divine race and fight for him. Giving them a second life and the possibility of transcending mortals, shouldn't they be grateful? Alas, they can only wish for the best. Tsunade sighed slightly. Since Yi Tian said so, she couldn't say anything more. Besides, Yi Tian had already told her about Danzo's plan to attack Yi Tian. They were so blatant and lawless in Konoha. She was really chilled by the corruption of Konoha's high-level officials. As for what Yi Tian would do to Danzo and his people before leaving, she also guessed it. She knew better than anyone how strong Yi Tian was now. Old man, I can't help you this time. Tsunade leaned against someone and said silently in her heart. Time flows, the sun sets in the west, and night falls. Yi Tian quietly waits for the show to begin. Bang! Suddenly, an evil chakra full of hatred bursts out, shaking the entire Konoha ninja village. The Ninetales riots. And at this moment, Yi Tian finally received the main task given to him by the reincarnation space. Ding! Released the main task? It seems that Uchiha Obito succeeded. Yi Tian said lightly. Obito? Minato's student. Tsunade on the side was also awakened by the Ninetales riot, but she didn't expect that the mastermind behind it was Uchiha Obito. Sure enough, the Uchiha clan likes to make trouble. It's impossible for Uchiha Obito alone to kill the Ninetales. Yi Tian sneered. Guard against day and night, but it's hard to guard against thieves at home. With the Konoha Pot King group hiding, the production location of Uzumaki Shinkuna has long been known to Uchiha Obito. Although Uchiha Obito is powerful, he would not have succeeded so easily without the secret cooperation of the Pot King Danzo. It's a very simple logic. When Minato Namikaze was there, Konoha didn't defend against Uchiha Obito. Later, Naruto became the Jinchuriki. Konoha didn't worry about Naruto being captured for more than 10 years, and chose to let him go. Does this look like a decision made after experiencing the Ninetales rebellion? Are you really not afraid of the mastermind coming again? You mean Danzo and the others? Tsunade gritted her teeth. Her brother's death may be related to this Danzo. Who else can it be besides him? I said I would seek justice for you. Now is the time. Yi Tian was murderous. Jesus couldn't save Danzo tonight. Is there anything I can do? Tsunade is not a vase. Her strength is the strongest in Konoha now, except for the 4th and 3rd generations. Go to the Uchiha clan to pick up the girl who cooperated with me that day, and then meet me at the guard post of the sealed book. That little sister Yanling cannot die, and Yi Tian cannot trigger the hidden mission. If she dies, the mission will be gone, and Tsunade can protect and monitor her. After Yi Tian finished speaking, he used the Flying Thunder God technique and disappeared in the manor. Flying Thunder God? It was the first time Tsunade saw Yi Tian use the Flying Thunder God. She didn't expect Yi Tian to be so powerful that he even controlled the technique of the second grandfather. It seems that the Senju clan is going to be glorious again. Thinking about it, she is still a little excited. Uchiha clan land. Emperor Tian, you didn't forget me. Miss Yanling was ordered by the clan leader to return to the clan land as soon as the Ninetales rioted. Why didn't the Uchiha clan, who controlled the Konoha Security Bureau, go out to help, but let all the clan members return home to martial law as soon as possible? It really makes people wonder. The nine-tailed monster outside that emits terrifying red energy has at least S+ combat power, right? Can the Emperor of Heaven deal with it? If it can be subdued, it will probably be rated at least S level. It's a pity that I can't go out to fight, although I'll just be cannon fodder. Just when Miss Yanling was thinking about it, Yi Tian's figure flashed. Emperor of Heaven. Miss Yanling was surprised. She knew that the Emperor of Heaven would not give up this SSS hidden mission easily. This is an extremely precious SSS level hidden mission, although she didn't even mention the content of the mission. I'm here to let you know. Follow Tsunade later. As for the orders of the Uchiha clan, don't worry about it in the future. Yi Tian said lightly. Well, will I be regarded as a traitor to this family? Miss Yanling felt that the Uchiha clan had high potential and high status, so she didn't want to give up. Don't even mention leaving Uchiha. Even if you become a rebel, it doesn't matter. The Uchiha clan will be destroyed sooner or later, unless you can fight Konoha alone. Yi Tian said. Hiss. Miss Yanling took a breath, then nodded obediently. I understand. Everything is up to you. Yes. After saying that, Yi Tian launched Flying Thunder God again. When the figure flashed again, it had already landed above the base where Jin was hiding. Danzo, your doomsday has come. Chapter 24, Part 1. Root Base. In the dark base hidden in the sewers of Konoha, Danzo was sitting and listening to the reports of his ninjas. Danzo, the fourth Hokage, seems to be held back by a mysterious enemy. The ninjas in the village are trying their best to hold back the Ninetales. The battle is very fierce. The third Hokage is on his way. A sensing Jonin of the root said the latest intelligence. At the same time, he was deeply puzzled. Why did Danzo summon all his subordinates back when Konoha was in great trouble? They fought together with the third Hokage. Even the Ninetales could be subdued. However, Danzo was not moved at all. He just asked calmly, all of our people are back, right? Except for those who have missions outside the village, all others are back. The subordinate replied. Danzo nodded and sneered in his heart. That's good. When the fourth Hokage dies, the position of Hokage will be his. As for the third Hokage, it would be better if he died with the fourth Hokage. However, the old fox third Hokage would not die easily. Hokage, this position will be mine sooner or later. Only I can lead Konoha to the top. Really? It's a pity that you don't have this opportunity. A voice that seemed to come from the soul resounded throughout the sewer. Huh? Who is it? Danzo was so scared that he stood up from his seat and felt a creepy shudder. But the voice did not respond to him, but shouted coldly. Mind Shinra Tensei. Above the root base, Yi Tian put his palms together, condensed chakra and telekinesis, and then suddenly pushed his palms apart, bursting out a devastating chakra telekinesis wave. Boom. In an instant, the telekinesis wave that destroyed everything destroyed the entire sewer base, crushing the surface of the ground, turning it into a huge ruin hundreds of meters deep. Danzo and his subordinates in the sewer were crushed before they could even scream. Ding! Killed 1738 Konoha ninjas and obtained reincarnation points, 189,550. Current reincarnation points, 252,550. Very good. The huge harvest made Yi Tian feel that a month of hard training was worth it. This move, Shinra Tensei, was completely his own ninjutsu, and its destructive power reached the level of S-level ninjutsu, but the difficulty of practicing was not high. It was simply to use the power of thought to condense the huge chakra in the body at one point, and then release it. As long as you have a sage body, a strong soul power, and superpowers, you can learn it in a month. The difficulty is indeed not high for Yi Tian. After cleaning up the root base, Yi Tian did not leave, but said coldly, Danzo, don't play dead, come out. Danzo at this time had not yet obtained Uchiha Shirsui's Mangekyo Sharingan, but he must have the Uchiha clan's Sharingan in his hand. With the Sharingan, the Uchiha clan's ultimate eye technique is Anaji. At the moment of activation, it can record its own state, and at the cost of losing the light of one Sharingan, distort the unfavorable state, including death. To put it simply, it is a rollback, and the price is a Sharingan. As expected, after being discovered by Yi Tian, Danzo jumped out of the ruins and fired a flare. Then he stared at Yi Tian angrily and roared, Senju Yi Tian, it's you? You destroyed my base, I will never coexist with you. Irreconcilable? It was a month ago, you don't still hope to survive now? Yi Tian sneered. It's you. You killed my previous subordinates. Danzo was shocked. It turned out that the person who threatened to kill him a month ago was Yi Tian. But he never thought that the Senju clan could produce such an invincible genius, whose strength was so strong that he killed all his subordinates in one move. At the same time, he also has the ability to stand proudly in the void like a god. The ninja god Senju Hashirama was no more than this at Yi Tian's age. You hid really well, Senju Yi Tian. Danzo's face was extremely gloomy, thinking about how to kill Yi Tian. This boy must not be left alive. Otherwise he would be a big trouble for Konoha. He became Hokage. Swish, 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 swish. At this time, a group of figures quickly approached Danzo. Danzo was overjoyed when he saw them, because they were all his allies. Danzo, are you okay? Senju Yi Tian, why is he here too? What happened to Danzo? The elders of Konoha, Xiaochun, Minyin and others, as well as their family ninjas, rushed to the ruins and were shocked. Yi Tian sneered at this. At this moment, the Nine Tails was still wreaking havoc outside the village. As an elder of Konoha, he did not bring his family ninjas to support, but rescued Danzo as soon as the root base was destroyed. It's really funny. It was him, he attacked Konoha. I suspect the Nine Tails riot was also his conspiracy. Danzo immediately washed the pot, threw all the dirty water on Yi Tian, labeled Yi Tian a traitor, and then stood on the moral high ground and used the power of Konoha to strangle him. Ha ha ha, you are really funny, Danzo. Yi Tian laughed angrily. He had never seen such a shameless person. He deserves to be the king of Konoha. He had a share in all the dirty things of Konoha, but when he was blaming others, he did not drag his feet and only added a sentence, everything I did was for Konoha. He was so double-standard. Danzo, you must die today. Flying Thunder God's super strength fist. Yi Tian sneered, and appeared behind Danzo with a space jump. Flying Thunder God? Danzo's pupils shrank, and his head was blown away by Yi Tian's punch. Danzo! Xiaochun, Minyan and others didn't have time to make a move, and Danzo died in front of them. This is the horror of the Flying Thunder God technique. Even if they knew that the other party's target was Danzo, they were powerless and couldn't keep up with the speed. Even Yi Tian killed someone and stood there swaggeringly, not afraid of their siege. But now they dared not act rashly, for fear that Yi Tian's next target would be one of them. Space-time ninjutsu is so perverted. During the Third Ninja World War, ninjas from the 4 major nations could abandon their missions when they met Minato Namikaze without being punished. At that time, Koharu, Minyan, and other Konoha elders were still very proud. Now, when this feeling happened to them, they knew how uncomfortable it was. Why? Why do you look so ugly? Do you regret it now? Do you wish Minato Namikaze would come to save you? Tian mocked mercilessly. Minato Namikaze, who was fighting for Konoha, was their only hope, but unfortunately he was going to be killed by these wastes fighting for power and profit. Koharu, Minyan, don't listen to him. Let everyone go together. I don't believe his chakra is infinite. At this time, Danzo, who was resurrected again using Izanagi, stood far behind the ruins and shouted. After that, Danzo performed the instant body technique and turned around and ran. Koharu, Minyan, and many ninjas who rescued Danzo were stunned. Danzo was not dead. His head was blown off, and what surprised them the most was Danzo's shamelessness. He actually let them fight to the death, but he ran away. Don't worry, none of you can escape. Tian smiled coldly and put his palms together again. Mind Shinra Tensei. No. Xiaochun, Minyan, and others felt the terrifying chakra that Tian was condensing, and they all fled in an instant, but Tian blocked their retreat with his mind power. Boom, boom, boom. A huge mushroom cloud opened up twice on the ruins. Feeling the vibration of the battlefield behind him, Danzo, who was running away at a high speed, looked back and was immediately ashamed. He gritted his teeth and said, I will avenge you, Shinji Tian. I will never let you go. I must dig out all your internal organs. Really? I want to see how you plan to not let me go. The empty figure flashed, and Tian knocked Danzo down with a lightning whip kick in front of him, and then pinched Danzo's neck. What a terrifying power. Tian's demigod body is stronger than the tailed beast. Danzo was pinched and couldn't break free. Now Tian only needs to use a little force to break his neck. Izanagi. Danzo knew that he was going to die again, and immediately wanted to activate the Izanagi on his arm, but he didn't expect a severe pain in his arm. Looking down, he saw that the remaining few Sharingan on his arm had all been dug out. When? Danzo was shocked. Just before I hit your head off, I used an illusion to block your pain. Tian joked. No, don't kill me. Why do you have to kill me? If you kill me, Konoha will also be seriously injured. Danzo begged for mercy in order to survive. Ha ha ha, I have many reasons to kill you. Let's not talk about Rope Tree. Just for the main mission, you have to die. You are the source of all evil in Konoha. Tian said indifferently. Chapter 24, Part 2. Main Mission 1, SSS Level Darkness of Konoha. Eliminate the source of all evil in Konoha. Reward. Depends on the completion of the mission. Main Mission 2, SSS Level Quell the Ninetales Rebellion. Reward. Depends on the completion of the mission. The first mission, other reincarnations don't know, but Tian doesn't know. The source of all evil in Konoha is the root of decay and Danzo. Danzo can't survive just for this mission. Whether there is a mission or not, Tian will kill him. Before his death, he was able to earn Tian a main quest reward of at least S level, so Danzo died a worthy death. Chapter 25, Part 1. Goodbye, Danzo. No, you can't kill me, Tian ignored Danzo's pleas for mercy, crushed Danzo's neck with one hand, and then crushed his body with telekinesis. Ding! The main task 1 is completed. The task evaluation is SS level. The reward has been issued, and you can collect it. Done. Tian clapped his hands, but did not collect the reward immediately. But he focused on the main task 2, quelling the Ninetales Rebellion, SSS level. Looking at this main task, Tian knew that if there were no hidden tasks, he could also get an SSS rating today. But to quell the Ninetales Rebellion, if you want to get an SSS level, you must do it to perfection, such as saving the Namikaze Minato couple, such as making sure that no Konoha ninja dies. But saving the Namikaze Minato couple is acceptable to Tian, but being Konoha's nanny and making sure that no one dies, haha, it is impossible in this life. Tian didn't have much good feelings for Konoha. Not to mention that not long ago, the Konoha Elders Council condoned Danzo to attack Tian. If it was a weaker Samsara, the end would definitely be Danzo sliced and studied. New and old hatreds are hard to settle. Even if Danzo and Koharuman the Konoha Elders, died, Tian would not help Konoha. Although the second main task gave up the SSS rating, the SSS rating has long been in Tian's pocket. SSS level hidden task. Catch the mastermind behind the Ninetales Rebellion and make the identity of the mastermind public. This is a task that Miss Yinling accidentally encountered the masked man Uchiha Obito near the Uchiha clan, thus triggering. At that time, it was because she triggered the task that she knew that there was a big boss behind the scenes near the family. It is estimated that Uchiha Obito was very close to her at that time, but he was hiding in the Kamui space. She couldn't see it, and it was also her good luck. If she saw Obito, he would probably disappear on the spot. This SSS-level hidden mission is very difficult for others. Without spatial talent, even an SS-level reincarnation may not be able to catch Obito. Moreover, Obito claims to be Uchiha Madara, and the reincarnation has never seen Uchiha Madara. Once the reincarnation believes in Uchiha Obito's lies, then unfortunately, the mission will be directly judged as a failure. Yes, SSS hidden missions all have traps. It tells the reincarnation that this mission is SSS level at the beginning, letting the reincarnation know the value of this hidden mission in advance, but the reincarnation must complete it perfectly. If there is a little mistake, it will be judged as a failure. So many times, SSS hidden missions are actually a death warrant. But for Tian, it is not difficult. Let's complete this SSS hidden mission first, and don't let Obito run first. Tian glanced at Minato Namikaze, who had already started a battle with the Ninetales outside Konoha village, knowing that Obito had already lost to the 4th generation at this time, and it was the best time to capture Obito. Outside the Konoha ninja village, in the endless jungle, Uchiha Obito covered his broken arm, watching the battle between Namikaze Minato and the Ninetales, and said grimly, "Damn 4th generation, don't think you won. There will be as many opportunities as you want in the future." Really? It's a pity that you don't have that chance anymore, Uchiha Obito. The space twisted, and Tian appeared directly from behind Obito. "It's you, from the Senju clan." Uchiha Obito was shocked, not only shocked that Tian knew time and space ninjutsu, but also shocked that Tian in front of him knew his true identity. "No, I'm Uchiha Madara." "Uchiha Madara? Do you want to scare me with him, a dead old thing? Do you want me to revive him and confront you?" Tian taunted. Now Obito doesn't have much fighting power, and it's obvious that he's guilty. "Damn, Kimui." Uchiha Obito knew that Tian knew everything about them when he heard this, and immediately escaped into the Kimui space. But before he could breathe a sigh of relief, he felt a chill on his back. 5-element seal. Tian used the advanced sealing technique taught by Tsunade to press on Uchiha Obito's abdomen, and then added a strange punch. Puff! Uchiha Obito vomited blood and knelt in front of Tian, looking up and asking incredulously, "How did you get in?" "My innate spatial power is just right to restrain your alien space," Tian said leisurely. "It is not difficult to counter the Kamui space. Leave the Flying Thunder God's mental power mark on Obito, and then break through the spatial barrier to get in. Of course, if there is no innate spatial power, it is really difficult to catch Uchiha Obito. It seems that few people in the entire Naruto world can do it. I still lost." After saying this, Uchiha Obito fainted and fell to the ground. Tian carried Obito and left the Kamui space, and then went to the storage room of the seal book to meet Tsunade and Sister Yinling. "Emperor Tian, is this the mastermind behind this?" The moment Tian appeared, Miss Yinling was stunned. According to the task prompt, the mastermind behind this has been captured, and the task completion rate is 50%. Tian nodded lightly, then looked at Tsunade and said seriously, "I have avenged Rope Tree." Tsunade's shoulders trembled slightly when she heard this, and after a long while, she hummed softly. Tian patted Tsunade's shoulder and said, "Let's go get the Book of Seals first." "No need, Sister Tsunade has already helped you get it just now," Sister Yinling said. "I'm not a fool. You asked us to meet here, and you must be planning to get the Book of Seals." Tsunade smiled proudly. "Haha, then there is only one step left." Tian activated Flying Thunder God and brought the two women to the battlefield between the Ninetales and Namikaze Minato. At this time, the Ninetales had been subdued by Namikaze Minato and Uzumaki Shinkuna. Namikaze Minato was performing the Shikigami Fujin, and was about to divide the Ninetales chakra into 2 halves and seal it in his and Naruto's bodies. "Are you still a step late?" Tsunade felt a little regretful. If she had come earlier, she might have been able to save Namikaze Minato and his wife. But after using the Shiki Fujin, the soul had to be dedicated to the god of death, and she could do nothing about it. "No, it's just right for me." Tian threw Obito on the ground and walked towards Minato Namikaze. "God, Tsunade-sama, the mastermind behind the scenes was defeated by you?" Minato Namikaze felt very surprised and pleasantly surprised, but Tian at this moment gave him a very different feeling, a little strange and full of majesty, which made him a little alienated. "You can seal the Ninetales chakra however you want. I'm here to take your soul mark so that I can revive you in the future." Tian made his intention clear. Yes, he was going to save people, but not directly. If he wanted to save Minato Namikaze and his wife, he could have come earlier, but it was not in his interest. What he needed was the race of the God Realm, or Minato Namikaze and his wife would not agree to be his subordinate God clan. Then he could only wait until they died, and then revive them with the altar of the underworld. In addition to Minato Namikaze and his wife, Tian would collect the blood and soul marks of the Konoha ninjas who died at the hands of the Ninetales this time to maximize the benefits. "Resurrect us?" Both Minato and his wife were shocked by Tian's words. But in the current situation, they didn't have time to ask Tian first, because sealing the Nine Tails was more important. Damn human, you don't take me seriously. The Nine Tails roared at this time. Yi Tian's words just now, you can seal the Nine Tails however you want, made it very angry. Shut up. Yi Tian roared, and the chakra with divinity burst out from the sage's body, forming a terrifying pressure. Ah, Senju Hashirama, 6 paths? How is it possible? The Nine Tails lay on the ground like a puppy under Yi Tian's pressure, unable to move. This chakra is exactly the same as when it met Senju Hashirama, it was suppressed to death, and Yi Tian's chakra is higher than Senju Hashirama's level, because Yi Tian has divinity. This even reminds it of its former master, the 6-path sage. Although Yi Tian's chakra is not the chakra of the sage in the 6 paths mode, it is very similar. Tian, you are so powerful. Minato Namikaze smiled bitterly. If he knew that Yi Tian was so powerful, he and his wife would not have to part with their newborn child. Even if Yi Tian had any purpose, Minato Namikaze felt that as long as it would not harm Konoha, it could be discussed. Chapter 25, Part 2. Unfortunately, Yi Tian could not confess to Minato Namikaze at the beginning, because Minato Namikaze had no real power and could not directly give the Book of Seals to Yi Tian. The main goal of Yi Tian's trip was the Book of Seals. Other tasks and rewards, to put it bluntly, were just icing on the cake. Yi Tian's Reincarnation God Clan plan was the most important. Don't worry, I will revive you, and will not make Naruto's future life too sad. Yi Tian said lightly. Thank you, Master Tian. Minato Namikaze and his wife expressed their gratitude and began to seal the Nine Tails. After the death of the two couples, Yi Tian collected their soul marks that had not yet dispersed. When collecting the soul mark of Minato Namikaze, the death god of Shiki Fujin looked at Yi Tian deeply, but did not attack. Because Yi Tian's soul is stronger than the death god is just a soul phantom summoned from the underworld. But Yi Tian is a young god who is truly in the state of demigod perfection. Yi Tian only needs a soul mark, and the death god phantom will not fight with him. After all, it is definitely not able to beat him. After solving the problem of Minato Namikaze, Yi Tian, Tsunade, and Miss Yenling took the unconscious Uchiha Obito to meet the third Hokage. The cause and effect of the Nine Tails Rebellion, the identity of Uchiha Obito, and the grievances with Danzo were told to the third Hokage in detail. Finally, under the extremely complex and vicissitudes of the third Hokage's eyes, Yi Tian, who had completed his goal, took Tsunade and others to leave the Naruto copy. This is a perfect curtain call for this reincarnation copy. After returning to the reincarnation space, Yi Tian was very excited, because this harvest would definitely allow his divine domain to achieve a qualitative leap. Chapter 26, Part 1. Reincarnation Space. Ding. Players Tiandi and Yenlingji completed the SSS hidden task in Ninja Continent and received a Super God evaluation. Ding. Players Tiandi and Yenlingji completed the SSS hidden task in Ninja Continent and received a Super God evaluation. Ding. Players Tiandi and Yenlingji completed the SSS hidden task in Ninja Continent and received a Super God evaluation. After Yi Tian and the girl named Yenling, ID Yenlingji, returned to the reincarnation space, the announcement of the Super God evaluation resounded throughout the server. No way. It's the Emperor of Heaven again. No. This time there's also Yenlingji. Is he clinging to someone powerful? Yenlingji. Isn't that a character from a closed copy of a certain S-level legion? No, that's a reincarnationist. But it's said that the two are related. It doesn't matter what their relationship is. I only care about the Emperor of Heaven. Yes, the Emperor of Heaven. She's the school beauty of the Magic Sea Film University. She's nice and talented. Slutty bitch. How could the Emperor of Heaven fall for an old lady like you? The Emperor of Heaven. I was born in 2200. I'm good at cosplaying all kinds of characters, and I've never had a boyfriend. 2 missions. Continuous Super God. If the reincarnationists only paid some attention to the Emperor of Heaven before, now they pay a lot of attention to him, and the big forces in the reincarnation space have begun to investigate all the information about the Emperor of Heaven, and it's best to find him in the real world. Super God evaluation, they also want it. Even if they can't get it, getting an SS level is fine. It's just that they want to find information about Yi Tian in reality, which is impossible. Unless they can travel to the universe of gods, but with their cultivation, they can forget about it in the next life. Hee, the Emperor is really popular. Miss Yenlingji teased with a smile. But Yi Tian didn't care about these, he was just surprised by her name. It was really Yenlingji. Is it really Yenlingji? Yi Tian looked at the Yenlingji in front of him a few more times, and found that they really looked more and more like each other, but she was a little more fierce and mature than the original Yenlingji, and her personality was somewhat similar, but she was a reincarnation. That's my secret. Miss Yenlingji's gentle eyes flashed a trace of passionate flames, and at this moment, Yi Tian saw 2 souls in her eyes. So that's it, 2 souls in one body. Yi Tian smiled slightly, and finally understood the relationship between the two. It seems that in the Tianqing Juga copy, she brought out Yenlingji's soul, and he brought out Tsunade in the Naruto copy in a similar situation. Now Tsunade is sleeping in Yi Tian's body, but her situation is much better than Yenlingji's. Tsunade's body has been preserved and sealed with a sealing scroll. You are such a bad person. You saw through me at once. Miss Yenlingji didn't expect that her soul came out to play a little, and was seen through by Yi Tian. She wanted to tease Yi Tian. Sorry, although I don't have insight skills, my soul power is too strong. Elves and ghosts can't hide in front of me. Yi Tian shrugged, indicating that it was not his fault that Yenlingji's secret was exposed. Then it's still my fault. Yenlingji pouted cutely. Otherwise. Yi Tian chuckled. Humph, I don't want to play anymore. I'm leaving first. Don't forget to transfer the reward to me, and remember to keep it a secret for me. Seeing that she couldn't flirt with Yi Tian, Yenlingji felt a little frustrated and bored. She added Yi Tian as a friend and left. Rewards? It's time to count the rewards this time. Let's find a private space first. Yi Tian searched the buildings of the Samsara Tower and found the functions of the Samsara space that he didn't have time to learn last time. The reinforcement room and the practice room. The reinforcement room and the practice room are the basic functions of the Samsara space. The function of the reinforcement room is very simple. It uses points to strengthen skills and bloodlines, eliminate side effects, such as the side effects of devil fruits and Mangekyo Sharingan, etc. It is an extremely practical function, but it consumes a lot of points, and few people are willing to use this function. The function of the practice room is more direct, which is to speed up practice. The time ratio is different from that of the Samsara space, similar to the copy, and can be adjusted by spending points. Yi Tian was in the copy for a month, and less than a day in the Samsara space. The time in the Samsara space is 1:1 with the time in Yi Tian's God universe. This is adjusted by the Wanjialagan system. Otherwise, it might happen that when Yi Tian completes a mission in the reincarnation space, a month or a year has passed in the God universe. Wouldn't that be the end of the matter? Let's go to the reinforcement room first to see how many points are needed for reinforcement. After finding the location of the reinforcement room in the reincarnation forum, Yi Tian walked over and put the reincarnation watch on the space crystal stone at the door of the reinforcement room. With a flash of silver light, he entered a vast white space. There was nothing in the space, but soon Yi Tian's information bar appeared in front of him. Player. Emperor Tian. Combat power. S+++ talents. Regeneration. Hades divinity. Space power. Immortal body. Passive skills. Physical resistance reduction. Skills. Telekinesis. Ninjutsu. Flying thunder god technique. Reincarnation points. 268,000. Items. Book of Seals. Heaven's Lock. Copy ID card X2. Spacetime login card X2. Contracted soul. Tsunade-ji. You can receive the following mission rewards. Mainline E Darkness of Konoha. SS. Mainline E Ninetail Rebellion. S. Hidden Mission E The Man Behind the Scenes. SSS. The Samsara points are 260,000 now. The heads of those Konoha elders are quite valuable. The Samsara points were only 250,000 before, and killing them brought more than 10,000. Danzo and his men deserve their death. Yi Tian smiled slightly, and then said, get the rewards. Ding. Receive the SS level mainline reward, and get 100,000 Samsara points, SS level item, God level login card. Receive the S level mainline reward, and get 50,000 Samsara points, S level blood limit card you would release. Receive the SSS level hidden mission reward, and get 200,000 Samsara points X10, SS level blood limit card, Samsara Eye X10. Current points, 2,418,000 points. God level login card. You can log in to the dungeon world of Gods and Demons Exist once, adjust the timeline, and obtain a talent above S level in the dungeon world. Bloodline limit card. After using it, you can directly obtain the bloodline limit sealed in the card. Oh my god, 2 million reincarnation points. I got rich overnight. Yi Tian sighed. This time the Naruto dungeon really made a lot of money. Chapter 27, Part 1. Even though Yi Tian had been prepared, he was still surprised by the 2 million reincarnation points. 2 million reincarnation points are 2 million divine crystals, and 2 million reincarnation points, if used properly, may be able to multiply the divine crystals 10 or 100 times. For example, using Yi Tian's previous Chamber of Commerce plan, he could be a businessman between the reincarnation space and the universe of gods, and make money by taking advantage of the information gap. Senzu beans. Yi Tian thought of senzu beans at the first time. There was a true god in the universe of gods who urgently needed senzu beans. The true god offered an outrageous high price, and promised to get the friendship of the true god. This was a great favor, and the value was inestimable. As for the reincarnation space, Yi Tian believed that the value of senzu beans would not exceed 100,000 points. I remember there is an auction in the building of the Reincarnation Tower City. You can go and see if there are any goods you want. Yi Tian now has 2 million reincarnation points. Basically, he can buy all the props that are not too precious, such as artifacts or goods that need to be exchanged. Give the reward to Yin Lingji first. Yi Tian doesn't like to owe others things, so now that he has received the reward, he should give it to her as soon as possible. Ding! Do you want to give 200,000 reincarnation points and SS level blood limit card Reincarnation Eye to your friend Yin Lingji? Yes. After operating the reincarnation watch for a while, Yi Tian pressed the confirmation button. Ding dong! Emperor Tian, I love you so much. After receiving the task share, Yin Lingji really wanted to express her gratitude to Yi Tian in person. She could even accept Yi Tian's excessiveness, but of course, she couldn't accept it too much. Both souls in her body were women who seemed passionate, but were actually very conservative. The charm of reincarnation points is really great. Yi Tian smiled and shook his head, then looked at his remaining rewards this time. Points, 2,218,000. SS level props, God level login card. S level blood limit card would release. SS level blood limit card Rinnegan X9. God level login card, log into the world of gods and demons. This is very important. It can make Yi Tian's strength leap again, so he can plan it well. Would release and Rinnegan. Would release is only S level? Yi Tian was a little surprised. He always thought that would release and Rinnegan were at the same level. But think about it, the immortal body is SS level, and the Rinnegan is the immortal eye, so it is normal to be SS. As for would release, it is at the same level as the Mangekyo Sharingan. Uchiha Madara did not open the Rinnegan during his lifetime, but he was indeed at the same level as Hashirama Senju. Would release can be given to Tsunade, and a pair of Rinnegan can also be given to her. No, these rewards can all be given to the God Realm race. Haha, blood limit card. This thing is too beneficial to me. Yi Tian almost forgot that the God Realm race has the innate skills, and the God Lord can definitely control them. This is also the most important reason why the gods used all their resources to cultivate the God Realm race and ignored their own combat power in the God Age, because the power of the gods is greater than the sum of their strength. Why is it greater than the sum? Because the God Realm races that I can do may not necessarily do it, but the gods that can do it will definitely do it. With 9 pairs of Samsara Eyes, a wood release, and the elite ninja souls collected by Konoha village, my God Realm race can match some weak primary gods. Yi Tian carefully considered. Tsunade's combat power is A++, level 3. After Tsunade obtains wood release and Samsara Eyes, she will definitely reach S level, and she is not weak in S level. But the gap with Yi Tian's S+++ level is still huge. Yi Tian's strength is already invincible in S level, and ordinary S level can be killed in seconds. Uchiha Obito reached S level because of his unique Sharingan, but he had no power to resist in front of Yi Tian. And the remaining 8 pairs of Samsara Eyes can cultivate 8 weaker S-level combat power. It can be said that Yi Tian's God Realm race is only 1 S-level combat power away from reaching the promotion requirements of the initial stage of God. However, in order to better understand the power of the two worlds, Yi Tian still asked the system. System, can you tell me the comparison between the realm of the reincarnation space and the God universe? Yi Tian has always been quite curious. Ding. The combat power of gods in the God universe fluctuates greatly due to the races in the God realm, but if we only consider the gods themselves, we can give a rough assessment. The Son of God is equivalent to a reincarnation of level AA+++. Demigod is equivalent to a reincarnation of level SS+++. Primary gods, middle gods, and upper true gods are equivalent to SS level reincarnation. Wait, SS level reincarnation includes the 3 major realms of the God universe? When the system said this, Yi Tian was slightly surprised. This span is a bit large. SS-level reincarnationists are all extraordinary beings at the level of gods and demons. The span of gods and demons in the heavens and the worlds is very large. According to the gods they become in different copy worlds, their strength is also different. I see. Yi Tian nodded, and then asked, what about SSS-level reincarnationists? The strongest in the reincarnation space should be more than SSS level. Ding. The situation of SSS-level reincarnationists is very special. The conditions for promotion are very complicated. Sometimes it cannot be described by level. The host can imagine Marvel for this. Marvel? The strength is messy and very imprecise, but if they really compete, it is not difficult to destroy the multiverse. Hearing the system talking about Marvel, Yi Tian can probably understand what the SSS-level reincarnationists are like. It seems that the strong in the reincarnation space are not as simple as Yi Tian thought. For most of the reincarnationists in the universal reincarnation world, he is considered a big boss. He is also invincible among S-level reincarnationists, and even some weak S-level ones may not be unable to fight. However, the strong ones in the SS level and the unknown SSS levels in the reincarnation space are not what he can underestimate now. But it doesn't matter, because in the reincarnation space, the plot is king. Yi Tian, who knows the plot, has a golden finger, and can be resurrected infinitely in the divine domain, is an invincible bug existence. Sooner or later, he will surpass them. Surpass those SS and SSS level reincarnations. Surpass those true gods, god kings, and god emperors. Yi Tian has invincible confidence in himself. Now wake up Tsunade first. Before Yi Tian takes her back to the universe of gods, he must first merge her soul with her sealed body. Yi Tian, are you there? How can I see your soul? And your soul world is so warm and full of power. At this time, Tsunade happened to wake up and walked in Yi Tian's soul world. Although she had known for a long time that Yi Tian had some magical and secrets that she didn't know, it was really a bit exaggerated. Yi Tian's soul world was too vast and too real, as if it was a real world. It's good to wake up, let you see the new world. Yi Tian smiled slightly, and then formed a seal to release Tsunade's body sealed in the seal scroll. The flawless body, if it wasn't for the soul, would be the same as a living person. Now just move the soul back and stabilize it. However, just when Yi Tian was about to do this, ding! Player Tian, do you want to spend 1 million points to help the contracted soul, Tsunade-ji, merge with the body? 1 million points? Why not go and grab it? Yi Tian was about to complain at this moment, but was stunned when he heard the next reminder from the reincarnation space. After Tsunade merges with her body, she will obtain the official identity of the reincarnation space and can go back and forth at any time. All reincarnations who enter this copy will enter the timeline after the Ninetales Rebellion. Reincarnations who enter the copy before this time period but have not completed the main task will be forced to exit without any punishment, and the number of logins will be retained. If the player Tian obtains the SS level item, Reincarnation World Legion card, he can establish a Legion root base in the Ninja Continent copy. If the Reincarnation Legion completely conquers this reincarnation copy, it can privatize the world. All reincarnations need the permission of the player Tian to enter. After listening to the reminder of the reincarnation space, Yi Tian suddenly felt that he had not lost out. Chapter 27, Part 2. Because he did not contract one person, but obtained the qualification to control a world. This is 1 million reincarnation points in exchange for a Naruto world. Chapter 28, Part 1. Done. Although 1 million reincarnation points are a lot, Yi Tian will definitely get too many reincarnation points in the future, so it is absolutely worthwhile to use them to exchange for a Naruto world, not to mention Tsunade who has obtained the identity of a reincarnation. To be precise, buying Tsunade is giving away a world. Although it still takes a Legion card and some time to conquer the Naruto world, Yi Tian is not in a hurry at all. Ding! Consume 1 million points. Fusion successful. As the sound of the reincarnation space sounded, Tsunade's soul and body were perfectly integrated and transformed in the enhanced room. Became more beautiful and more fairy-like. Finally woke up. Ding! The first affiliated reincarnation of the player Tian was born. Because of the divinity of Tian, the player Princess Tsunade evolved and obtained Sage Body. Player Tian. Combat Power S+++ Talents. Regeneration Hades Divinity. Space Power Sage Body. Passive Skills Physical Reduction Resistance. Skills Telekinesis Ninjutsu Flying Thunder God Technique. Reincarnation Points 1,218,000. Items Book of Seals Heaven's Lock Instance ID Card X2 Spacetime Login Card X2 God Level Login Card SS Level Blood Limit Card X9 S Level Blood Limit Card X1 Subordinate God Clan Tsunadeheim. Sage Body? Yi Tian did not expect Tsunade to awaken the Sage Body directly. Is it because she is his subordinate reincarnationist, and he is a god? Reincarnationist, reincarnation space, the heavens, and the worlds. After becoming Yi Tian's subordinate god clan, Tsunade immediately obtained all the information and knew the mystery of the reincarnation space. And she did not expect Yi Tian to be a god, the god of the reincarnation space. Although she did not know Yi Tian's origins, she felt that Yi Tian was really powerful. Humph, you bad guy. You really got on your pirate ship? Tsunade said slightly, but she was not really angry, because she had decided to give her whole person to Yi Tian. Although Yi Tian's identity was given by the reincarnation space, her memory was very real, and she had done almost everything she could do in the month she was with Yi Tian. Even if Yi Tian told her the truth in advance, she would choose to go with Yi Tian. Don't even think about getting off the pirate ship once you're on it. Yi Tian smiled slightly. It was impossible for the gods to betray him after becoming his subordinates, not to mention the contract of the reincarnation space. Although Yi Tian didn't think Tsunade would go back on her word. Who wants to go down? I won't leave even if you drive me away. Tsunade said with some teeth-baring. Haha, Yi Tian smiled, and then said seriously, because of you, we can log into your world copy at any time in the future, and we can go back anytime we want. Yeah. Tsunade nodded. Although she had no worries in the Naruto world, she would still think of it occasionally, and because of the reincarnation space, she had to be wary of other reincarnations. Tian seemed to know Tsunade's concerns and said, after we create the Legion, we will try to control the world. Then we won't have to worry about other reincarnations. And that will be the best for you, Tian. Tsunade knew that controlling a world was equivalent to controlling all the creatures there. Tian nodded. After controlling the world, when fighting in the gods' domain, with one order, all the ninjas in the world would fight for him, and the primary gods would tremble in fear. Moreover, being the master of the world, there are definitely other benefits in the Samsara space. Let's get familiar with the Samsara space first. Is there a casino here? Tsunade asked with some expectation. What are you thinking about? Tian gave Tsunade a slap on the head. He didn't want Tsunade to lose all his wealth. I'm not sure I'll lose. Tsunade felt a little wronged. Hee. Just laugh it off. Tian didn't bother to say anything to her. He took out the blood limit card, the Samsara Eye, and the Book of Seals. This is the blood limit card of the Samsara Eye. Now that you have awakened the sage body, you can perfectly integrate it. There is no problem practicing would escape. Get familiar with it here. Yes. Tsunade is very interested in both the Samsara Eye and would escape. Now that she has the conditions for practicing, she will naturally not miss it. Tian originally wanted to give Tsunade an S-level blood limit card, but she already has a more advanced sage body. It would be a waste to give it to her. It would be a good choice to keep it for trading or selling it to others. As for Tian, since he has come to the strengthening room, he must strengthen himself. And the best choice to strengthen himself is, of course, blood talent. God-made weapon, a Heaven's Chain, is also a good choice, but this Heaven's Chain is useful for the realm below the God King, and it must come from a high-level mythical world in the reincarnation space, which is much more advanced than the Heaven's Chain of Type Moon. It is estimated that 1 million points will not make any splash. Therefore, Tian still chooses talent. Tian's 4 talents, S-level regeneration, SS-level immortal body, Pluto's divinity, and space power, are unknown. Although the first 2 are useful, they do not need to be improved for the time being. Pluto's divinity and space power, Tian thinks they have unlimited potential, and the space power talent allows him to directly learn the flying thunder god technique. Pluto's divinity, Tian always thought it was useless, but when Tian collected the soul imprints of Minato Namikaze and his wife in the Naruto copy, the Death Shadow did not dare to fight with him. At that time, he thought it was because his soul was strong. But now think about it, maybe there is another reason. The godhood of Hades. The godhood of Hades is definitely stronger than the godhood of the god of death in the Naruto world. The suppression of superiors and subordinates makes the god of death dare not fight with him. Tian secretly said, with the godhood of Hades, he should be able to come and go freely in some god and demon worlds with the underworld. Otherwise, he will not fight with the god of Hades in that world. There can't be 2 tigers in one mountain. If Tian is the god of Hades in a god and demon world, he can't allow the existence of gods with the same godhood as him. Let's not improve the godhood of Hades first. This thing has advantages and disadvantages. Reincarnation space. Strengthen the talent space power. Tian said. Ding. Player Tiandi, will you deduct 200,000 points and strengthen the talent space power? Yes. Although 200,000 points are not a small amount, Tian didn't even blink. Ding. Strengthening is successful, and the talent is upgraded to initial space law. Initial space law. Can comprehend the basic laws of the universe, exert the power of space with almost no consumption, and become the god of space after condensing the godhood. To comprehend the elementary space law is equivalent to obtaining a ticket to become a space god. The law of the god level. Tian was surprised. He had not yet become a god, but he had already comprehended the power of the law. In the universe of gods, except for the freaks in the royal family, there should be no gods who can control the law at the level of demigods. Although many demigods have more or less some power of law, if they want to fully control a law, even if it is a basic law, they must reach the level of gods. Moreover, the laws of gods are mostly related to their divine races. For example, for the divine races with fire attributes as the main attribute, the gods generally control the law of fire. When fighting in the divine realm, the gods use their own law of fire to increase the combat power of the divine races, complementing each other and forming a virtuous cycle. However, Tian now controls the law of space. When fighting in the divine realm, I'm sorry, everyone in the divine race will be flying thunder god. Haha, let's see who dares to go against me. Tian was excited and felt that it was time to return to the universe of gods. Chapter 29, Part 1. But before returning, I have to inquire about the news of the Legion card in the world of reincarnation. Although Tian was eager to return to test his strength, he did not forget about the copy of the Naruto world. At the same time, he also planned to buy the cloning technology of the world of Resident Evil, which would be used as a sacrifice for the impure world reincarnation. At this moment, a reminder suddenly came to his mind. Ding! The affiliated god clan Tsunade obtained the blood limit of the Samsara Eye and successfully awakened the wood release. Player Tian obtained the SS level talent E Samsara Eye. Awaken the SS level skill E would release. Player Tian. Combat power. SS, lower god, talents, regeneration, Hades divinity, space law, primary, sage body, Samsara Eye. Passive skills, physical reduction resistance. Skills, telekinesis, flying thunder god technique, would release. Samsara points, 1,018,000. Affiliated god clan, Tsunadeheim. Combat power, S plus talents, Samsara Eye, sage body. I'm invincible now. My grandpa can't beat me either. After Tsunade merged with the Samsara Eye and awakened the wood release, she felt full of strength. She felt like she had hung her grandpa up and beat him. Wow, crack, crack. Only Hashirama Senju is no longer alive. Otherwise, if he knew what this filial granddaughter was thinking, I wonder what her expression would be. Isn't this normal? Look at how proud you are. Yi Tian said lightly. Tsunade's talent was not bad to begin with. It was normal for her to awaken the wood release quickly with a sage body. The Samsara Eye could be used directly after fusion. She was originally the bloodline of the Otsutsuki clan, so there was no bloodline conflict. What? Be careful, or I'll beat you up. Tsunade waved her fist and said playfully. Beat me? It seems that you are very arrogant. Very good. Very energetic. I hope you can still be so energetic later. Yi Tian was unhappy when she heard this. It seemed that she had to teach her a lesson. Anyway, there was still plenty of time. Otherwise, she would not know what it meant for a husband to be a wife's leader. What are you doing? Tsunade was a little nervous. She really didn't know how strong Yi Tian was now. But soon she knew. It was a power like a god or demon. 2 hours. The fun was over. Yi Tian and Tsunade left the strengthening room. Tsunade, who was standing behind Yi Tian, no longer had the momentum of invincible in the world. Like a bullied young wife, she dared not say a word. She was beaten to her knees just now, which was quite bad. Yi Tian was sunny and refreshed, and was very satisfied with the result of the battle and Tsunade's defeat. Reincarnation space, Commercial Street. After leaving the strengthening room, Yi Tian and Tsunade strolled all the way to the Commercial Street and saw many reincarnations setting up stalls. Hee, there are so many novel things here. The goods in the reincarnation space are really countless. All kinds of strange, even Tsunade, who has seen the world, is very shocked. Seeing Tsunade's enthusiastic appearance, Yi Tian originally thought that she had no interest in shopping, but unexpectedly, all women in the world are the same. Yi Tian really doesn't understand why women like shopping so much, and often discuss very enthusiastically, but in the end they don't buy. Speechless. However, Yi Tian is not here to accompany Tsunade shopping, but to see if there are any goods he needs here. Reincarnation space cloning technology, with all supporting equipment and instructions for use, and 100 medical robots for free. The price is 1,000 reincarnation points. Don't miss it if you pass by. Suddenly heard a vendor shouting in front. Yi Tian was stunned. Isn't this what he wants to buy? Just a little surprised. So cheap? Brother, among the rewards of the reincarnation space, technology is the least valuable, and someone got the cloning technology on the second day of the global reincarnation. If I hadn't exploded this card while doing the task, I wouldn't bother to sell it. The guy who bought the cloning technology said bitterly. Technology can be copied infinitely, and at most it consumes some materials. If Yi Tian does not buy it in the reincarnation space, he can get it by spending money in the real world where everyone reincarnates, or even by using some tricks. I bought it. Yi Tian was too lazy to bother, and this guy was very honest, and he also gave him 100 robots, which could save him a lot of trouble. Hey, thank you, boss. The vendor quickly packed the reward card for cloning technology and the seal card for sealing 100 robots, and then handed it to Yi Tian. After Yi Tian transferred the money, he was about to call Tsunade behind him to leave. But Tsunade stopped at a somewhat luxurious stall next door and called Yi Tian. Wait, my god. Look at this kind of beans, the breath of life is so strong. What beans? Yi Tian walked over and saw the product and raised his eyebrows immediately. Senza beans, no grade food item, which can keep you from being hungry for 10 days and can also heal injuries. Senza beans? Yi Tian didn't expect to encounter Senza beans before he even entered the Dragon Ball dungeon, and there were 10 of them on the stall. Hey, you two know what's good. This is the item our Legion commander won in a lottery after getting an S-level rating. Eating it can keep you from being hungry for 10 days and can also heal injuries. The young vendor on the luxurious stall said with a smile. He thought the big fat sheep was coming. It was obvious that he treated Yi Tian and Tsunade as newbies who had just entered the reincarnation space. It was really hard to sell items without a grade. 10 days of not being hungry, many reincarnationists would not be in any trouble if they didn't eat for 10 days. Healing injuries, because there are only 10, one less is one less, no one has used it, who knows how effective it is. This thing doesn't even have a grade, even if it can heal ordinary people or F-level reincarnationists. But what about E-level and above reincarnationists? Therefore, it has been here for so long and still can't be sold. Just tell me, how much is it? Yi Tian said. 1,000 per piece, our leader said, not a penny less. The young vendor smiled. What did you say? Yi Tian was shocked. Ahem, this is what my leader said. I can't do anything about it. The young vendor was a little embarrassed. He also knew that his leader was making trouble for no reason. But no one would be willing to get this thing in the S-level task evaluation. Okay, I want them all, just as a friend. Yi Tian bought all 10 senzu beans very straightforwardly, and after the transfer was completed, he took Tsunade to the auction site very calmly. After walking away, Tsunade whispered in Yi Tian's ear, Tian, isn't this item of no grade? Is there something mysterious about it? Haha, no grade doesn't mean it's useless. Yi Tian didn't explain to Tsunade. After all, there are many people in the reincarnation space. Anyway, he made a lot of money this time. 10 senzu beans. It's only 10,000 reincarnation points. But it's also because of the special nature of senzu beans. Most of the non-graded items are equipment without attributes, such as the exquisite small sword. But senzu beans are obviously not, but a healing medicine that ignores the level. One senzu bean is equal to one more life. This is the information gap. In the reincarnation space, information is supreme. Well, maybe my SS Legion card can also be used to get something for nothing. Before returning, Yi Tian planned to use the auction function of the reincarnation space to reward the SS Reincarnation World Legion card. In his heart, he had already planned to trade with SS level items. But now, why not sell the information directly? How much is the information that a certain high-level copy may get an SS level evaluation? Anyway, Yi Tian only brushes the SSS level evaluation. Others with SS level evaluations are not a threat to him, and having information does not necessarily mean that he can get an SS level evaluation. As long as the content of the information is true, it's fine. Hide some key details in the information, and you can even kill the other party. Chapter 30, Part 1. Okay, done. After entering the auction house of the Samsara space, Yi Tian consigned 2 SS intelligence and 1 SSS intelligence after proving the authenticity of the intelligence at the notary office of the auction house. At 12 o'clock, the auction will start in the Samsara space. After the auction, the Samsara space will automatically transfer the money to Yi Tian's ID. If it fails to be sold, some points will be deducted as handling fees. Yi Tian still has 1 million Samsara points, so he is not afraid of deductions. Besides, he does not think it will fail to be sold. In the Samsara space, the importance of intelligence is absolutely immeasurable. Even a SSS level Samsara will fall if he does not know the intelligence. For example, Marvel, fantasy, prehistoric, mythology, and some strange worlds, such as Doraemon. It is not uncommon for a boat to capsize in the gutter in the Samsara space. Unless you reach the avenue level, even if you reach the realm of Pengu, you dare not say that you are invincible in all realms. So where are we going now? To other dungeons, or to the real world? I looked at the forum and found a casino in the real world called Las, something like gas. Tsunade saw that Yi Tian was done, so she urged Yi Tian to take her to the casino. She was not allowed to touch the casino in the reincarnation space, but the casino in the real world should be okay. Haha, I'll help you change your luck later, now go home. Yi Tian smiled and decisively rejected Tsunade's idea. Go home. Tsunade was rejected but did not make a fuss, but was more looking forward to Yi Tian's home. She didn't know Yi Tian's background at all. She only knew that he was a god. Originally, I didn't intend to let the reincarnations who were loyal to me know about my world, but you are an exception. Yi Tian thought about it and decided to confess to Tsunade. Because she was his person and it was impossible for her to betray, he didn't want to use Tsunade as a tool in the battle of the gods. What are you talking about, weird? Tsunade sneered lightly, but her inner emotions were quite unsettled. Let's go. Yi Tian didn't explain, and then took her hand, silently chanting in his heart, System, return to the universe of gods. A silver light flashed, and the two disappeared in the reincarnation space. Not long after the two left, several powerful reincarnationists appeared out of thin air in the auction hall of the reincarnation space, both men and women, but other reincarnationists couldn't see their faces clearly, and mortals couldn't look at them directly. When the other reincarnationists in the auction hall saw them, they were extremely respectful, like gods. The person who auctioned the information anonymously seems to have left. Ah, a step late. What a pity, but I didn't expect you to react so quickly. It's the same for each other. After all, who doesn't want such talents? Even if you can't get them, it's always good to make friends with them. It would be even better if it's a little brother. Huh, Vixen. Hee, dead gay. Can men's friendship be called gay? Hee, I just smiled. At this moment, Yi Tian, who had already left the reincarnation space, didn't know what happened in the auction hall. If he was at the scene, he would be able to see clearly the identities of these mysterious reincarnations, because they are all beings of the same level. Divine Realm. Metaverse. Is this your divine realm? The moment Tsunade followed Yi Tian back to the divine universe, she felt a sense of divinity from the Temple of Atlantis in the divine realm. It was exactly the same as Yi Tian's divinity. Tsunade now roughly understood the peculiarity of Yi Tian's world. And at the moment when Yi Tian came back, the 5,000 slimes in the metaverse ocean also floated up. Wow, so cute. Tsunade's eyes lit up when she saw such cute slimes. Yi Tian also smiled knowingly when he saw the cute slimes so impatient. It's just been a while since we last met. Is there any need to be so excited? It's just that the 5,000 slimes didn't rush towards him as Yi Tian imagined, but they all revolved around Tsunade. Yi Tian, aren't slimes asexual creatures? They don't have reincarnated souls. Why do they like Tsunade more than their master? Is it because of some reasons that they regard Tsunade as the same kind? Oh my god, they are so cute and soft. At this time, Tsunade came to Yi Tian with a blue jelly-like slime in her hand and said happily, "It's okay." Yi Tian curled his lips. He was a little unhappy that these idiots were better to Tsunade than him as their master. However, Tsunade and his slimes had a good relationship, which made it easier to manage. Although they were all his races in the God Realm, it did not mean that every race in the God Realm could get along with each other. In the future, Tsunade could be trusted to take care of this place. After playing with the slimes for a while, Tsunade learned the truth. Tian, you mean, this is another universe, the world of global gods. Tsunade was a little shocked. Gods are high above and untouchable by ordinary people. Even her grandfather, Hashirama Senju, only had the title of god, not a real god. Otherwise he would not have died with Uchiha Madara. And in this world, all people are gods, 10 billion or 100 billion gods. Too exaggerated, 100 billion gods. Tsunade was shocked. No, the number of gods should be 10 billion. Although the population of God Earth is similar to that of the Earth in the world of universal reincarnation, both are at the level of 100 billion. Most people are demigods in this life, and the number of gods should be around 10 billion. Yi Tian thought for a while and said, 10 billion gods, it's also exaggerated. Tsunade said with lingering fear. There are 10 billion beings in this world who can kill her in seconds. If the 5 major ninja villages in her world knew such news, they would also be shocked. Most gods are not in the ancestral star, but fighting in the void battlefield. Yi Tian said, Void battlefield? What is that place? Tsunade asked curiously. If I guess correctly, the void battlefield will be the main battlefield between her and Yi Tian in the future. The void battlefield, there is no detailed information in the textbooks. In a word, it is the intersection of time and space and dimension, the source of chaos where darkness and light are mixed, the place of life and immortality, the place where all worlds rotate and all things return to the abyss. Yi Tian said, with some yearning in his heart. It is an unknown, vast cosmic ocean, with endless secrets and treasures. The source of chaos, the land of life and immortality? It sounds so mysterious. Tsunade murmured, in awe, but also had some yearning for the mysterious void battlefield. Well, only by becoming a god can you be qualified to stand in the void battlefield. According to my guess, if the god does not have the immortality of the kingdom of God and the immortality of the gods, the moment he enters the void battlefield, he will be destroyed in body and soul. As a top student, Yi Tian naturally has some research on the void battlefield, based on intelligence legends and the school's plan to cultivate gods. Yi Tian had previously inferred that the reason why the gods like the battle of the gods domain and don't like single duels is related to the void battlefield. Then why did they give up cultivating individual battles because of the void battlefield? Yi Tian speculated that the gods didn't want to, but couldn't. Tian, become a god as soon as possible. I am more and more curious about the void battlefield. Tsunade said. Although she doesn't like war like most ninjas, she still has a wild heart in her bones. And the void battlefield is not the kind of war between people, but the struggle and adventure between races and universes. I won't let you wait too long. Yi Tian's eyes are full of confidence. But now, let's talk to Tsunade about the big things about the races in the divine realm.
Thanks for watching. You can find the next videos in the playlist linked in the info card or directly on my channel.